he was gonna step into the fold. He'd had a good season all year long.
Yeah.
And when he's been called upon, he's been productive. And in the World Series, it was no different. Freddie had himself 2 knocks, big two out RBI, double 2 RBI knock, I should say.
That was huge.
And again, when you're on that field and you got 2 outs and you're on the defensive side,
right?
And you are very aware that, man, we get out of this inning not giving up a run here, we're gonna be all right. We're good.
And
the momentum changes.
4 runs on you like that,
right? To get 4, that's icing on the cake. But to just get runs with 2 outs, we watched the Padres struggle with runners in scoring position. We watched them struggle with those 2-out knocks. All season long. You see how deflating it is for a team when you're on the cusp.
A game.
Yeah.
I've always felt that at bat with 2 outs and a runner at second and third, in whatever inning it is, are the biggest moments of every baseball game because it's a 2-run swing.
Momentum.
If you get the guy out, they get no runs. If the guy gets a hit, they get 2 runs. That changes games.
Momentum very rarely exists in baseball, but those are the times where you could actually see it change, like in real time. And so Rangers, they're in the catbird seat right now. I mean, they get a win today. They're going to be celebrating in Arizona on visiting territory. That pool is going to get splashed. I guarantee it.
They'll spend a little time in the pool.
They'll spend a lot of time in that pool.
Yeah. Do you think Arizona, just to be mean, put some armed guards surrounding the pool so that the Rangers can't get in there and
jump in Arizona's pool?
There he is, the hater.
There he is.
I knew the raccoon.
That was going to get him out of here.
The raccoon, the
his
hater.
First words of the show.
Yeah, there he is.
I don't think you should be going to jump in Arizona's pool.
Oh, I think you should.
Oh, the Dodgers did it well back. They were like the first to do it.
And do you want to be a Dodger? No, you don't.
Listen, when you win a World Series, you are entitled to the place is yours, basically.
Yeah, you're going to own this place. I mean, look,
it's your place.
The Rangers own every ballpark in America right now. They swept the Orioles on the road. They swept the Astros
From
on the road.
East to West, they got it.
They swept, who was their first opponent? The Rays?
The Rays.
Yeah, so it was the Rays. They took them out on the road, then the Orioles, then the Astros. And they still haven't lost a game on the road. They just have been
moving west the whole time.
It's unreal, man. They are 10-0 on the road. I mean, how many teams during the course of any Major League Baseball season, I don't care how good you are, and I don't care how bad the opposition is, you win 10 straight road games. That just doesn't happen
often.
And Texas is doing it under the most, high profile of circumstances. They're looking to finish it off. I think most people think it's over, but I do caution thee. The Diamondbacks, in a lot of ways, the way I'm thinking of this, are kind of right where they're comfortable being. They were completely dead against Philadelphia. They were down 3-2. They were heading to Philadelphia for game 6 and 7, and they found a way to win both games. I think they tell themselves, look, guys, we find a way to win tonight. Adolis Garcia is not coming back. We can go to Texas and win. I still think Arizona believes. I don't know that the belief is going to be enough to carry them to 3 straight wins, but I haven't totally put the season to bed yet.
Yeah, you lose 2 home games, though. That's the difference. They only lost the 1 to Philly, and that was after they bounced back
after
and they tied it. And so, listen, I'm not going to count the Diamondbacks out. They have proven their worth in terms of, hey, don't count us out.
That's right. They deserve at least that.
This is a pretty steep climb at this point. So we'll see how that one kind of all unfolds. But the thing that stood out to me in last night's game is the same thing that stood out to me, which is why they were so dangerous before they kind of fell off the cliff a little bit at the end of the season. And that's because 1 through 9, that lineup can be productive. You talked about Freddie, who was hitting 9th last night for Texas.
Yeah.
Travis Jankowski. That 7, 8, 9 part of the lineup, look what they did to really flip the lineup so that you're putting Torey Lovello in a spot where he's got to decide whether he's going to pitch to Corey Seager or not.
Bottom of the lineup had 3 hits, 3 RBIs, and 5 runs scored last night.
They were Texas. If they weren't knocking somebody in, they were on the base path for the big dogs. And that's the difference in last night's games and the game before. The bottom part of the lineup, they did their thing.
And Corey Seager is, as I mentioned earlier, I mean, he's on his way to being the next, if he's not already, Mr. October. They put a graphic up. He and Reggie Jackson have both played the same number of games in October, and they have the same number of home runs.
He's got. I think Corey's got one more RBI. I think
Corey's got another RBI. So Corey Seager, 19 postseason home runs now in 77 games. And he just, I mean, he is tearing apart Arizona.
Let me tell
in
you
this
something,
series.
young hitters. If you're listening and you're watching this series, watch Corey Seager's lower half.
Lower half. Tell me what this is all meaning.
His lower half.
Because I could use a little help. I got a softball game tonight.
Basically, from the waist down, his legs are what I'm talking about. And his swing are so connected to the rest of his swing.
My swing is probably disconnected.
If I'm being honest, I haven't seen your swing.
But it's probably disconnected.
I don't know.
I don't hit the ball like he does. So that's the telltale sign.
But
right
he
there.
is so rooted in the ground, and you could just see his lower half really being the engine, which it should be behind the swing. It's not his arms, it's not his hands, it's his lower half that does pretty much all the work.
He crushed a ground rule double in the game last night as well. So he is locked in. The Rangers look like they're locked in. And if they do win tonight, Tony, that will leave us with only 5 franchises in Major League Baseball that do not have a World Series title. Alas, I say the Rockies, and unfortunately our Padres.
We're the second oldest out of that group.
I believe we're who's older. I mean, no, the Brewers came in the year after the Padres.
So we're the oldest.
We're the oldest. The Padres came in '69. Brewers took over for the Seattle Pilots in 1970, and then the Rockies, Mariners, and Rays all came after that. Yeah, so the Padres would be the oldest team without a World Series title. And as we say, misery loves company.
Yes,
we don't have much company left.
Everybody's leaving.
We're running out of company on the list of teams without a World Series championship. Thanks to everybody who wrote in. Thanks to most of you who wrote in thoughts and appreciation for our interview yesterday with Bob Melvin, the outgoing Padres manager. Most of your responses were very kind, and we appreciate those. For those of you that wrote to just rip us a new one for that interview, you're a hater too. What can I say? I mean,
join the club.
Sickness.
Join Skraby's club. Yeah, it was.
I was doing more of the hating in the breaks.
I love the people who write something in like, if I had interviewed Bob Melvin, I would ask him this, and this.
Oh yeah, would you have a job after that?
Yeah, exactly. So anyway,
no, it's not even about the job thing, because it's
not that. I mean, it's about being decent to another guy who comes on, another human being who comes on the program and gives us his time. Right. I mean, sorry, but I'm not Jim Gray. I'm just not going to ask a bunch of asinine questions just to tick everybody off. So that's just not the way it goes. But thank you to everybody. If you missed the Bob Melvin interview, I think by and large it was pretty good. It was pretty well received. There was some good info in there about what transpired, what didn't transpire. You can always go to our webpage at 973thefansd.com, or just search 97.3 The Fan on YouTube, and you can watch the stream of our interview. I will be wearing a captain's hat, and Skraby will have raccoon eyes, which made the interview that much more comical yesterday. So thanks to everybody on that. We have a couple seconds in this first segment. What is going on in the National Football League?
Oh, boy.
Wow. I mean, just a crazy day, all starting with the Raiders and owner Mark Davis, who on Halloween night, at 10 o'clock at night?
Man, Mark wasn't playing. He was up late.
I mean, evidently, he just did not like the tone of the trick-or-treaters at his house, because he was in no mood at about 10 p.m. last night. He just fired Josh McDaniels. I cannot commend him anymore. If I'm a Raider fan out there, this is one of the happiest days of my life. I think it's almost as exciting as the day they drafted Marcus Allen. I mean, Josh McDaniels, the Raiders, I said it yesterday, they were not going anywhere as long as he was head coach. I think Mark Davis came to the same conclusion. So they move on.
Listen, when you got your two best guys, and by the way, he was a part of drafting Josh Jacobs. He was a part of bringing in a guy.
And both those guys turned on it.
I mean, I'm not talking about necessarily Josh McDaniels. I'm talking about Mark Davis. Like,
okay.
He's been at the helm of this. He's seen this talent come in, right?
Yeah.
And he's seen this coach that, because remember, it wasn't by choice that he really had to go get Josh McDaniels. Remember, the NFL forced him basically to fire John Gruden.
That's right.
Who was his original choice.
That's right.
And so I think as he saw this thing starting to unfold, and players don't seem to be happy, fans certainly aren't happy. You're just swimming in mediocrity.
Yeah.
I think this is what the Davises do, right?
I commend him though, Tony, because he's now paying over $40 million in coaches' salaries to Gruden and McDaniels for two guys that are no longer coaching his team.
Yeah.
That takes a lot of guts for an owner to do that. So I credit him for it. The general manager was also let go, as was the offensive coordinator. And oh, by the way, today, veteran quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo was sent to the bench.
Yeah.
He will be replaced by rookie Aiden O'Connell.
We have a question
Antonio
about that
Pierce.
Sunday.
Antonio Pierce, former New York Giant.
Yes,
is the new head coach.
Interim coach.
And that's the first move he makes is, all right, Jimmy, have a seat.
Have a seat.
We're going with the young guy.
Going with the young guy. So a big shakeup at the Raiders. We got to talk about what's going on with the Packers. They are not in love with Jordan Love, apparently.
Wait, what?
General manager came out today, said there's a lot more time that we need to evaluate Jordan Love. We're not really necessarily ready to commit to him as our franchise quarterback.
Wow.
The Chicago Bears have fired a running backs coach over, quote, a behavior issue.
This is their second behavior issue from a
this
coach.
Has happened under Matt Eberflus, and that's nothing compared to some of the charges that are being levied against Cardinals owner Michael Bidwell.
Yeah.
People there in Arizona are saying this guy is a nightmare to work for. There are huge stories in both The Athletic and on ESPN about the disaster that is the Arizona Cardinals. So we will get into all of that NFL talk as we go along today. But baseball, final day of the 2023 season, very possibly. Matt Snyder, as I mentioned, will join us. We got a Chris's Fantabulous Sports Game Show headed your way today. Daily Gambit, Chris versus the Fans, the Big Five. It's all coming up between now and 6 o'clock. As we get underway, Gwynn and Chris on San Diego's #1 sports talk station, 97.3 The Fan.
And Kim crosses the plate.
You can listen to every Padres game along with all the music and news that San Diego needs right here on
Joe, we didn't get to it in that first segment, but certainly is concerning out here in our parts, in our neck of the woods. San Diego AD Bill McGinnis, who has resigned, source told Action Network HQ. This is a tweet from, an X from Brett McMurphy.
Yeah.
USD's football program is under investigation for hazing allegations. McGinnis came to USD in 2017 from Southern Miss in June. McGinnis was named the NACDA as one of 4 FCS athletic directors of the year. So,
here's the thing that, and I'm looking at the USD. I mean, they had a press release that came out, and Bill McGinnis was there for 7 years. It's pretty obvious that the timing of this has to be related to the hazing allegations.
Yes.
But Bill McGinnis released a statement and said, "My wife, Margie, and I decided that now is the right time to step away, hit reset, and embark on exciting new opportunities that are ahead. I have treasured my 7 years at USD, blah, 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 blah." USD President James T. Harris responded,
blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, well, that's basically what he responded with. My point is, neither of them touched on the elephant in the room, which is these hazing allegations, which are so sordid, Tony.
Yeah.
That when Mark Ziegler wrote about them in the San Diego Union Tribune last week, he couldn't even print them. And I mean, the University of San Diego is under this huge cloud right now. And the athletic director resigning today, to me, does absolutely nothing to lift the cloud, because they continue to avoid the subject that everybody wants to hear about. And they continue avoiding it under the guise of, we are a private institution and we have all of our investigations ongoing privately, and we haven't got to the end of that yet, and it would be inappropriate for us to release. It would be very appropriate for you to start releasing some information and start telling people in this community what in the world is going on at your school out there, because we have a right to know. This is a private university in our community that is embarrassing right now. And Skraby and I have said the same thing for the last 2 weeks while you were gone, Tony. Also, if USD doesn't say something, then it's left up to us, our own devices, to think whatever it is we want to think about.
That's not what you want. That's not what you want. That doesn't help change your narrative. Listen, one of the reasons why all this hubbub about the Padres at the end of the year kind of blew over relatively quickly was because everybody on every side spoke on it, and so you could move on. There wasn't any room for you to put your own spin on what exactly is happening. But USD has chosen, and listen, it is within their right, because they're a private institution, to go at it the way they have, but they have chosen to remain silent. And what I can tell you is, especially in today's media world, when you leave blank space in a story, it gets filled in, whether you want to fill it in, or the folks who are writing about it.
And that's why I keep bringing this up, man. If you're a USD out there, get the word out. At least get a word out that you would like out there, rather than the narrative that we're all thinking. But in the meantime,
and it's not just that we're all thinking. The lawsuit has been opened to everybody.
It's all
to see.
kind of out there, trickling around.
Guess what? Now you don't have to worry about the media filling in. That lawsuit paper is going to fill in the blanks of what everybody's thinking is going down.
Yeah. And as it is right now, the practices remain closed. The players, head coach Brandon Moore, remain totally unavailable for any kind of interviews. So USD just continues to forge on as if nothing's happening. Now their athletic director says he resigned. Does anybody believe that? No. So anyway, Torero Nation, you guys can do better than this. And I think you better do something better than this soon. As I said last week, I know a lot of people that work over there, good people at USD. There's a lot of good people whose reputation, name / is being tarnished to a certain extent by all of this, just because they're connected from USD.
Yeah.
Oh, you work at USD? Isn't that where this sordid hazing incident is going on? What do you know about it? I mean, that's all anybody is going to be talking about. You guys, all right, that's it.
That's it.
Do something quickly.
Chris touched on it in that first segment. We'll get to some of the things that some of the stories that are going around in the NFL right now, but we're talking Padres baseball, and with free agency really right around the corner, especially after today. If the Rangers win today, that's where the attention turns to. It shifts to free agency and all of the moves that teams are going to be making, and Padres have a few of those. Josh Hader.
Excuse me, Tony. Do you immediately become a free agent as soon as the final out is made tonight? Is that how it works?
I think teams have to give you a qualifying offer or something along those lines first before you officially become one.
Okay.
Or you have to decide if they're going to give you a qualifying offer. If they decide to give you a qualifying offer and you don't take it, you're a free agent. If they don't, you're a free agent. So we'll see what happens. Josh Hader is the big closer on the free agent list this year. Last year it was Edwin Diaz. We saw how his year went. It never really even got started. No. Heard himself celebrating in that WBC. But I think the question that, a lot of people have asked, I think Chris asked Bo Mel about it yesterday in terms of his usage, how it went down. Will it hurt? Will it impact his free agency, do you think? Do you think teams because at this point, I would assume word is out. Doesn't take much for it to travel around the baseball circle in terms of how he was used, when he wanted to be used. Will it affect his free agency, Chris?
No,
I don't think it will either.
I don't either. I just think somebody out there's. I mean, look, it may scare away one team or two teams, but it's not going to scare away every team, right?
It takes one.
It's right. It only takes one out of the other 29 teams to say, no, we think Josh Hader is going to change our fortunes around, and we are going to do everything we can to sign him. They're going to pay him huge money because of the statistics that he's put up.
Edwin Diaz set the record for largest free agent contract ever by a reliever. 5 years, 105.
Do you guys think that the team that does sign Josh Hader will find themselves feeling like we did when it was down the stretch and the team needed Josh Hader, but he wasn't coming in the game?
I think it depends, right? Because the one thing that you could say that there may have been fault in terms of Bo Mel is how, although reportedly Josh didn't want to be used in certain situations, that doesn't then mean he gets to dictate where he's used when he is used, right? I know he's your closer, but as we had a caller mention, and I think it's been brought up over the course of the year, there's a few times eighth inning could have been the closer spot. And we've seen it a lot in the postseason.
Yes,
this year.
They do that a lot now.
And, if you're not going to be able to use them on certain days, then you, as the manager, really dictate when you're going to be used. Now, you're not going to use them in the fifth inning of a game, but if the best three hitters are coming up in the eighth, you definitely have the option to use them there.
Something you could do. But do we, by the way, do we all know for sure that Josh Hader walked in and laid down a directive and said, I'm only pitching this inning?
That's why
it was all reported.
Yeah,
we don't know that any of this is even 100% true.
100%.
We know that somebody suggested that it might be true, but Josh Hader never came out and confirmed any of that. Nor did I get did you get a confirmation on it from anybody?
I didn't.
So, I think you got to take it with a grain of salt. I mean, if the guy's going to
every time it was brought up, I think something of the answer along the lines was, we have discussed certain things, but it was never really a direct answer.
It wasn't a direct answer, but
again, when you don't directly answer it,
you fill in the blanks.
People tend to fill in the blanks.
And for someone who just is watching the game thinking, okay, this is Josh Hader time, and then Josh Hader doesn't come in, and you're like, well, the guy hasn't pitched for 8 days. Why is he not coming in for this 3 outs right here? It leads me to fill in those blanks of The rumors are true. The reports are true.
I see. All right. Well, of course,
Does
it
that
leads you
say
to fill
what
in
does
the
that
blanks.
does that say something about you, or does that say?
I think it
something-
says something about you.
No, I think it says something about everybody.
All right, let's get to break. There is a new report that's kind of coming, that's coming across my phone right now. Dennis Lynn, Ken Rosenthal, and who else is it? Drellich. A report saying the Padres had to take out a loan at the end of the season for $50 million. I haven't read the full article, but I do know, having been in this game, that's not unusual. Teams do that typically.
I read the whole thing too, and I came away with it. Going into it, I was like, "Ooh, this is juicy."
Yeah.
Then after reading it, I'm like, "Oh, well, teams do this all the time."
Yeah,
so.
I don't know that this is a big deal. I have to get into it and read a little bit myself. We may get into the discussion. We may ask our next guest, Matt Snyder, a little bit about it, but we got plenty of show to dive into this. Some NFL. Lakers taking on the Clippers today. I think they have their new weapon.
Is James Harden going to play?
He walked into the locker room yesterday. So
I mean, it's only up to, who knows what goes on in his mind.
I'm not counting on it.
He's probably already asking the Clippers for a trade out of
you
there.
think so?
Yeah. I had someone ask me this online. Would you ever buy a James Harden Clipper jersey if you're a Clippers fan?
No.
A jersey's what, like $250 maybe?
Being that it's his fifth Oklahoma,
I
Houston.
can't even tell you.
It's his 5th team. You might be able to gamble on the fact that he can't go anywhere else.
He'll find. He'll ask to go somewhere.
Oh man, you just got the Clippers James Harden jersey. That no one likes that one.
Hey, at the end of the day, as a Clipper fan, you might be able to say, "Well, he stayed with us the longest, so I went ahead and bought his jersey."
There you go.
We'll see.
More Gwynn and Chris ahead.
Ben and Woods on the Fan.
If you guys missed the show a couple weeks
97.3 The Fan SD. You can download the Odyssey app, which will give you all kinds of control of when and what you can listen to. Or you can watch the stream now. Go to YouTube, search for 97.3 The Fan, and make sure you subscribe to that channel. It's very simple to do. You just push a button, something even I was able to take care of.
It's true.
So, yeah, it is true.
Finding it was a different story.
It took me a while to find it, but then you came over and understood why it was that I was struggling.
It was a little confusing, but
yes,
now that the YouTube page is getting some attention from people out there,
It's a little easier.
it's a little bit easier. And you could also see the Bennett Woods full show on there as well. There's some other videos that you can go check out. So go to the 97.3
all kinds of fun stuff
YouTube.
now. 97.3 the page at YouTube, and you can watch Gwynn and Chris every afternoon. We're here till 6 o'clock. Matt Snyder is a scheduled guest in this segment. We're efforting to track him down. So that gives us a moment to talk about game number 5 of the World Series tonight. Zach Gallen is going to start for Arizona, and Nathan Eovaldi is still 4-0 in the postseason, goes for Texas in the clincher. Gallen, your thoughts on him, Tony? I mean, the guy,
The milkman.
pitched great ball all year long. Hasn't been phenomenal in the postseason, at least not yet. But he's got to be good tonight, right?
Yeah. I mean, what I think of Zach Gallen, he's one of the best pitchers in the league when he's right. And the thing is, he hasn't been bad or average. He's just been good.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, in the postseason, sometimes good is not good enough.
Not good enough,
right?
right?
I think his last outing, he made a couple mistakes, and he paid for them. If I'm not mistaken.
If he makes even something close to a mistake against Corey Seager, it's leaving the ballpark right now.
He's the one guy where you pretty much have to be perfect, or you just need to put him on. If you're not going to be perfect, put him on first base, let him clog up the bases.
I wouldn't think it would be a bad idea to even think about putting him on in the first inning, and here's why. Texas is 10-0 when they score first.
Yeah.
You can't let them score before you come to bat.
The other thing is Corey Seager. The one thing you have to do against Corey Seager, and he neutralizes it, is you got to get ahead. But he's also like the best first pitch swinging hitter.
You groove a fastball
in all
to
of baseball. So that's why I said you either have to be perfect, because that means on 0-0 count, you got to spot up and paint the black down and away, something down off, like right on the corners. And it's still not a guarantee at that point that he won't bridge you at that point. So he's got his hands full, because if the bottom of the lineup is doing what they did in the last 2 games,
getting on base, then you got to pitch to Corey Seager. Yeah,
and Marcus Semien for that matter.
Semien heated up last night with a 5 RBI game, and the Rangers look like they didn't miss Adolis Garcia at all.
No,
but like I said already, if Arizona can win 1 game, and that's tonight, they got to put everything in this game. They can go to Texas and win 2. I mean, it's not impossible, because you'd be talking to a team that already went to Philadelphia and won 2. So the odds are certainly against the Diamondbacks. The talking head on ESPN, Chris Russo, the Mad Dog, the Mad Dog?
Yeah.
What he
was supposed to retire.
He was supposed to retire.
Yeah, he didn't.
Because he said, if the Diamondbacks come back and beat the Phillies, I'm going to retire. I immediately started rooting for the Diamondbacks to come back and beat the Phillies. I wouldn't have missed Chris Russo had he retired, but he didn't retire. And now he's coming on saying basically he's going to retire again if the Diamondbacks are able to come back. So he's doubling down on it.
This is a little bit easier to double down up 3-1,
but still, if they come back, will you please follow through on your promise?
I don't think so.
I know you won't.
I don't think
so. What's the point of even making the statement in the first place when we know you're not going to do it?
It would be more of him losing credibility that he keeps throwing this out there, even though he has no intentions of retiring.
That's right.
Of course, Tony, he does.
You're absolutely right. I am tired of these loudmouth talk show hosts making claims that they can't back up.
Huh.
Oh, yeah. Name one that I've made that I haven't
Kyle
backed
Shanahan
up.
was a terrible coach. You haven't backed that up.
I haven't backed that up. What do you? Okay, that's not a comparison.
How is that not a comparison?
I haven't threatened to do something. I didn't say if Kyle
That's
Shanahan,
a good point.
if
He
Kyle
didn't say he was
Shanahan
quit.
doesn't win a game, I'm going to go up there and belt him over the head.
I understand.
Yeah.
All right, so I haven't made any claims that I haven't backed up. I said that Kyle. Did I say Kyle Shanahan's a bad coach?
It wasn't open.
I think in your angst to get under
Skraby's
skin, you might have said it. But you've also said that Josh McDaniels was a bad coach before he even got the job.
Yeah.
So
that one's turned out.
You've turned out to be all right.
That one's turned out okay. And right now, Kyle Shanahan, not a very good coach. You're only as good as your last game.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
You guys are saved by Matt Snyder.
He did cut bait. He did cut bait with the last quarterback because Brock Purdy was the one.
Not the time or place.
What do you mean
not the time or place. Matt Snyder is on the phone.
Oh, he's on the phone.
Yeah,
okay.
good.
You're lucky.
We've located
You're
Matt.
lucky,
you are lucky,
buddy.
Skraby, because we were going to tear you up that time. Matt Snyder from CBS Sports, one of our great baseball guests, joins us on the program. Matt, how are you on what could be the final day of the 2023 baseball season? I know that part of it probably saddens you.
Yes, it does. And I'm also sad that I missed the call. I couldn't hear it. I'm so sorry.
No worries at all.
But anyway, we're good here. We're good now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, I hope, I know you're not supposed to necessarily root for teams, but I just want it to go 6 or 7. So I hope the Diamondbacks get this one. But yeah, you're right. It's bittersweet, right? Like I'm here, I'm excited for game 5, but it's like, please don't be the last game. Come on now. We need more than 5 in the World Series. When you go through and you think about like the best World Series, none of them were ever just 5 games. They always go to 6 or 7. So hopefully they can get one here. They showed life late last night. Maybe that's a good sign heading into today. They did hit Nathan Eovaldi pretty hard in game 1. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing that sticks out about this World Series, last World Series, there was one team that was supposed to be there, one team that wasn't, and it ended up looking like there was one team that was supposed to be there, one team that wasn't.
Right.
Back here in San Diego, Matt, there's been a lot going on. I don't know if you've heard, but Padres are in the on the look for a new manager. Is there any name out there that hasn't been mentioned? We've talked about Benji Gill. We've talked about Eric Chavez. We've talked about the in-house candidates and Ryan Flaherty and Mike Schilt. Is there anybody that you think should be involved that you haven't heard?
I wouldn't mind talking to Will Venable. You know, there's a San Diego tie there, and he's the Rangers bench coach, number 2. So he's learning under Bruce Bochy right now. I mean, Bochy's the playoff master. So I wouldn't mind that. He's an up-and-comer, but I haven't heard his name at all, so I don't know if he's being considered at all. I was just surprised that he wouldn't be. You know, you're basically the number 1 assistant for the team in the World Series. Usually your name gets bandied about.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I thought he should be in the mix. But otherwise, he basically said him. I know everybody's connecting him to the Mets, but with Craig Counsell out there, I think he's one of the best managers in baseball. I think it's worth a call, and it's worth trying to throw more money at him than the Mets do. But we'll see. I know he's interviewing with Cleveland. I don't know why he would take that job when he's interviewing with the Mets. But the Padres could compete with the Mets here. I really think they could. I think if he looked at that talent that the Padres have in the house, he would probably think, you know what, maybe I'd rather live in San Diego than New York. I don't know. I would. I definitely would.
Thanks, Matt. We appreciate that. Matt, from everything you've read, everything you've heard, everything you've surmised from the situation here in San Diego, and AJ Preller going to be running this show no matter what, Bob Melvin, and he obviously didn't see eye to eye. Is that going to be difficult to find the right manager, though, who's going to want to come in and basically have to toe the company line a little bit?
And that might be the problem when I just talked about Counsell. Maybe it's, hey, the Mets will leave me alone, but the Padres, it seems like Preller won't, because if he ran off the veteran like Melvin, and maybe that would be a deciding factor for Counsell there. So, yeah, but I mean, if it's an up-and-comer, like in an Eric Chavez type, where it's going to be his first managerial job, I'd be okay with that. I mean, there's guys like Kevin Cash who are really dialed in with the front office, and it feels like the front office make a lot of those decisions for him. He doesn't seem to mind it. I mean, hey, at the end of the day, there's only 30 managerial jobs in Major League Baseball, and if you get one of those 30, that's a pretty nice perch there. So It's somebody like Council. It might be scared off by that, but below that, I think most of those guys would take it anyway.
Matt Snyder, CBS Sports, joins us here on Gwynn and Chris. And Matt, we saw a report last week in regards to Juan Soto, and the Yankees were connected. When you look across Major League Baseball, Yankees obviously they got it was a young kid, Dominguez, I believe it is, that everybody is feels like it's one of those sure thing type deals. When you look across Major League Baseball's landscape, are the Yankees the best team if the Padres were to make a deal with Juan Soto, or to give up Juan Soto? Are the Yankees the best match?
They're a good match. The Cubs are a good match. They're at the point where they have a good farm system and they're looking to spend money. They only missed to get playoffs by one game this year. They're looking to get in the mix. I'm sure that the Mets will be involved. It's David Stearns gets hired away from the Brewers. Now he actually is allowed to spend a lot of money. He might want to dive right in the pool right there and take on Soto. Although they just restocked their farm system in front of the trade deadline. But I would expect it to only really be mega markets that do have good prospects. So then there'd be a match that they can cough up the prospects and they know that they have a chance to extend him during the season and don't have to deal with free agency. So, yeah, it seems like the Yankees, Cubs, Mets are the ones that first come to mind.
Matt, what about what are you hearing? What do you think is going to happen with Blake Snell and Josh Hader in free agency? It seems unlikely that either or both could stay here in San Diego. And how much are they going to command out there on the market to make it almost impossible for the Padres to keep them?
Yeah, it seems like Snell's probably gone. I could see Hader being a match there, but at the end of the day, if you have to go cheap and with one part of your ball club and figure it out on the fly, it's the bullpen. And so maybe that will be the deciding factor for the Padres. Like, hey, we're in a bit of a financial crunch here. We can probably try to piece it together here. And maybe Suarez has a huge season or something. It looks like he did toward the end of 2022. Then all of a sudden you've got a cheap closer there. So I could see them both going. Like I said, I feel like Snell's definitely gone. And then it makes sense if you are trying to save money, and maybe that would be the deciding factor on being able to hold on to Soto. If you let those two guys walk and you go cheap around it, then maybe you can justify keeping Soto. But yeah, it's in terms of the contract, Snell is a 9-figure guy. It's maybe it's something like 6 years, $140 million or something. I mean, he's been inconsistent. He's been inconsistent enough that you're not going to see him up around the 200 range, but he's absolutely going to get deep into the hundreds. Hader, what are some of the other bigger deals like Aroldis Chapman, Kenley Jansen? They fell like in the 6 years, $90 million range. That's probably reasonable to expect for Hader.
Last thing, Matt, before we let you go, and as always, we appreciate the time, but can you just, ahead of him winning the championship, which he's likely to do, sing the virtues of Bruce Bochy one last time? I mean, when he first got this job, did anyone really around baseball think, all right, he's going to come back, he's going to immediately win a World Series, another one?
Yeah, I think a lot of us thought that he was going to be a difference maker. But, like, man, there's only so much a manager can do. Right. They had to have a lot of things go right for him this year. But they had a lot of injury adversity, man.
Yeah, they did.
I mean, Corey Seager only played 119 games. Jacob deGrom had Tommy John surgery. They dealt with Adolis Garcia getting hurt late in the season. That's when they promoted Evan Carter. So what they were talking about last night in the clubhouse, Travis Jankowski in particular, because he took over for Adolis Garcia, is he's like, man, this is how it's been all year. We've had a lot of big names go down. Nathan Eovaldi went down for 8 weeks or so in the middle of the season. He's like, we've just had to get used to having the next man up mentality, and you have to step up when it's your turn. And that's what Jankowski did last night. And it just feels like one of those Bruce Bochy Giants teams, right? Where they've dealt with injury adversity. They're not one of the greatest teams in the regular season, but all of a sudden in the postseason, it seems like almost everything just works for them. And he doesn't even have a good bullpen right now. Their bullpen's terrible.
Yeah.
And he just has to keep piecing it together. And it seems like most of the time he makes the right move.
He's phenomenal, and he's on his way. They're going to throw him in the pool tonight if they win in Arizona.
Boach is a big dude. I don't
He's
know
a big guy, but I
think
think they'll get him into the pool tonight. Hey, Matt, thanks as always for your time. We really appreciate it, and enjoy your off season, and hopefully it won't start tonight.
All right. Yep. Have a good one, guys.
Thanks so much. Matt Snyder, CBS Sports, joining us on the Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Yes, they're back, and you can save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet, find new roads. There's got to be some odds somewhere on
emergency alert system.
This
is only a test. This is a test of the emergency alert system. This is only a test.
3 o'clock. Welcome in, Tony Gwynn Jr., Chris Ello, Matt Skraby. Second hour of Gwynn and Chris got a daily gambit headed your way. Skraby doesn't have any bets today, but that's all right.
That
Chris
means he'll
does.
save money, because otherwise, I mean, when's the last time you honestly won one?
It's been a while.
Like
man.
a parlay?
Yeah.
I don't know.
minute.
I don't know.
It's been a minute.
I almost won that one when we were at Circa in Vegas, and then Ellie Day.
You know, it is
Cruz,
really
like, struck out a
fun
bunch
when
of
you
times.
almost win. Like that.
No, but
is
he
like,
actually bet money. He actually
Yeah.
went
Oh, you
down to
put
the
money
sports
down. Yeah,
book
remember
and bet
this?
his own money.
And Chris and I, every time we
And he
passed
won
the screen,
he won the first 3 games.
Yeah.
And then the 4th game was a Reds-Giants game,
Yeah.
I believe.
and every time we passed the screen, we would look. One pitch and Ellie De La Cruz is striking out.
Yeah, but
So.
but I think the Reds, he had the Reds in that game, and they actually came back in the 8th inning and took a lead.
Yeah.
And I thought Skraby's actually going to win, and he's actually going to cash a ticket.
Wait, I did cash that, didn't I?
No, the Giants came back in the bottom of the 9th and won the game, stole the game.
Chris has a great memory. I don't have a great
Yeah,
memory
you didn't win.
whatsoever.
But you
Tony,
were
how's your
there.
memory?
You had a shot. You had a shot. That's as close as you've been.
How's your memory, Tony?
How's my memory?
Yeah,
It's pretty good.
Okay.
Why?
Well, because I was saying that Chris has a great memory because I don't even remember what happened. He could tell me the teams on the ticket.
This dude answers questions from 1904. Of course, he's got a great memory.
Not that. No. That was 1904.
It was.
Yeah.
It was.
1904.
It was 1904.
Yeah, I was there.
All right. Well, without further ado, let's get to some data gambit.
Do you like money?
I think about money a lot.
Do you like money without doing anything?
Winning.
Do you want to make money while watching sports?
I think Washington is immortal luck.
Washington! Woohoo!
If you answered yes, this is your segment. Just don't blame us when you lose.
Nothing is ever your fault.
It's your game. Take it.
Gwynn and Chris go through the top bets of the day in The Daily Gambit on 97.3 The Fan.
Daily Gambit is our daily sports betting segment here on Gwynn and Chris. Please, everybody, gamble responsibly. If you can't remember your bets like me, then you're probably not gambling responsibly. Chris, here's a stat that will back up your Kyle Shanahan is a bad coach statement. This has been going around.
Well,
the
let me also say that I did not say he's a bad coach today.
Oh, today. Okay. You did
I
not
said
say
it
it today.
I said it before he had any
like
of this
4
success.
years ago.
I did.
But
So,
here's a brutal stat for Kyle Shanahan. He is 1-31 when trailing by 3+ points entering the 4th quarter.
1-31.
Wild. But 3 points, you can't win a game when you're down 3 entering the 4th quarter.
That's your coach, man.
that's a coach that obviously can't deal with any adversity.
You're right. You're right.
So
It
that's
is.
what I'm going to go with from now on.
Okay. Chris, you do
Kyle
that.
Shanahan can't deal with adversity. We'll see. Actually, he's got some adversity right now he's got to deal with because his team's in a slump. But we'll see.
They're on
how
a
he
bye week.
gets out of this.
Hopefully Brock Purdy doesn't throw more interceptions.
They're going to Jacksonville when they come back.
I
to
know. I don't
play.
like it. They had a tough schedule.
That could be a 4th consecutive loss, Skrabe. By
That's
that
not
time,
good,
you're going
man.
to be inconsolable by that
Yesterday,
point.
I was the ghost of Brock Purdy.
You were not the goat. Stop telling people that.
I was, though.
You
You're
were
a
a
raccoon.
raccoon.
That's what you perceived me
You were a
as.
That's what
raccoon.
everybody perceived you
Yesterday,
as.
you were a raccoon. Monday, you were a sick dog
Yes, I was.
because of the
I actually
49ers
was.
performance on
that's
Sunday.
right. It
He
was
finally
pretty,
had to
it
throw
was
up so
pretty
that he could
pitiful.
come to work.
All right, let's get into the bets from last night. The Diamondbacks and the Rangers obviously played a World Series game. We bet on the over-under number of total runs, which was 9.5. Chris and I went under. Tony went over, and Tony would be correct. It was 11-7.
What a nice cash
Winner,
in.
winner, chicken
That's an
dinner.
early cash in, too, because they were at 10 runs in the 3rd inning. So you were already over. That was an easy one.
Then Andrew Heaney over under 9.5 outs in the game last night. Chris and I went over. Tony went under. He actually ended up going 15 outs.
5 innings.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't
well,
see
it
that.
helped that he had a 10-0
Yeah,
lead.
that's true.
So they were able to keep him in.
I didn't see that coming. He only gave up 3 runs when he was in there, 2 runs
One.
when he was 1. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
he pitched pretty well.
I didn't see that coming.
Pitched well.
And then Toledo yesterday. I couldn't remember if we were doing a spread bet, if we were doing a total.
15 points
Ooh,
on the spread against
okay.
Buffalo.
Well, this was a snow game, which was kind of cool to watch for
Love
a second.
snow games.
All of us chose Toledo, and all of us were correct. They won 31-13, so 18 points right there.
Beat the spread.
Yes.
Yeah.
Clippers, 6-point favorites last night against the Magic. You guys chose the Clippers. I don't know. I was going to say Clips, but do people call them the Clips?
I don't know what people call them.
Okay, you're too cool over there, Mr.
Tony
Laker.
hates the Clips.
I don't know.
Oh, I've never heard of another team in Los Angeles
I didn't
except for
say
the
that.
Lakers.
I don't know what their nickname is. I don't know if the Clipper fans call them the Clips.
Who's the guy that you spar with on Twitter about the Marcellus Wiley?
Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Well, the Clippers, you guys chose them. I chose the Magic, and the Clippers won by 16 points, 118-102. So I lose that one. Not a good day for me yesterday.
All right. Tony went 3-1 yesterday. That is his record for the week. Skraby went 2-2 yesterday. He is 5-4.
Okay, still there.
And I went 3-1 yesterday. I'm 6-3. So all three of us are over 500 heading into tonight's activity.
This is when it gets real, guys.
This is kind of surprising because normally by this time in the week we're all paying out big money to our bookies.
Yes, we are.
All right, here's what we've got for you tonight. We will start with Zach Gallen. He's trying to pitch and save the Diamondbacks season tonight. His over-under is 15.5 outs.
Ooh.
Can he get an out in the sixth inning? He's got to get an out in the sixth inning as well to go over. So
I'll go first.
All right, Skrabe, what do you got here?
You know, I have a good feeling.
Shut down baseball?
I think that he will because he's a good pitcher and good pitchers show up. So I'm going to say he goes over.
But he's got an ERA over 5 this postseason.
Yeah, not good.
Torey Lovello just cannot afford to take a chance. The first sign of trouble, he's out. I'm going to go under.
Hey, Torey Lovello needs him because the bullpen did not. They got taxed.
They did, but the problem for Arizona in the last. In really all 4 games, because the one game they won was 9-1. They haven't been able to use Thompson, Ginkel, and Seawald.
You got to get to them first.
Yeah, right.
You have
to
be able to get,
been able to get.
You have to have a bridge that gets to those guys.
Yeah.
They haven't done that. So I will say, because it is an elimination game, that this game's going to be close.
Okay.
And so therefore, Gallen goes 6. Gets an out.
Wow.
Gets an out
in the sixth inning. You're going
inning.
over.
Yes.
All right. So both of you going over. I'm going to go under. How about the game itself? How much do you believe in the Rangers to be World Series champions tonight? If you believe it, you got to give me 1.5 runs. Arizona's 1.5 run underdog. I'm first. I'm going to take Arizona just because I'm going to root for Arizona. Plus 1.5. Tony, what about you? Do the Rangers win it tonight, or do the Diamondbacks stay alive?
I thought you were rooting for Boch. You don't want to.
I am rooting for Boch, but I want to see him win it
what
back
the heck,
home.
Man?
I don't want to see him get tossed in the pool. I don't think he wants to go in the pool.
I
don't think Boch wants to go in the pool.
If someone's getting tossed in the pool, I want it to be Boch.
Yeah, he's gonna celebrate back.
I don't have it. I don't have enough faith in the
Diamondbacks. Right, you're going Texas to win.
Tejas.
All right, Skraby, you're left.
Tommy Pham walk-off home run.
Oh, listen to this.
I'm just kidding. I think the Rangers are going to win.
Rangers wrap it up tonight.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm the only one who believes that the Diamondbacks have a fighting chance.
They really.
I mean, they definitely have a fighting chance.
They do, but they took advantage of what is it? They're not supposed to be their time.
Yeah, nobody believes that anymore.
But now they're right back where they've been the entire time, where everybody's saying you have no chance. They seem to thrive under those circumstances. NBA tonight, the Dallas Mavericks, Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, and company host the Chicago Bulls. The Bulls have been a crazy ride the first 4 games, Tony.
Yes, they have.
They're 2-2. I didn't even know they had a bench clearing incident in their victory over Indiana the other night.
I didn't see that either.
I know. And the game before that, Zach LaVine scored 51 with no assists. They lost that game. They got to go into Dallas, and they're only getting 4.5 points. It's not a lot. I believe Tony's first. You like Dallas? Minus 4.5 against the Bulls.
Bulls are 2-2?
Bulls are 2-2. You want to see what the Mavericks are? Does that matter to you?
I think they're 2-1.
Oh, are we still betting?
Yeah, we got a couple more games to go.
I didn't know that.
I thought you were off doing your other thing.
Oh, wow. The Mavericks are a perfect 3-0 so far. And
it's in Dallas?
And it's in Dallas. They've won their games by an average of 9 points per game so far.
I'm going to say the Bulls cover.
Bulls up in the Mavericks, or at least stay close. Bulls plus 4.5. Skraby.
I don't believe in the Bulls at all.
I know.
Jeez.
I'm going to go with the Mavs.
I don't believe in the Bulls at all.
Who did you go with, Tony?
He went with the Bulls.
Okay.
I don't believe in the Bulls too much either, but they're my team. Last time I bet them, they got blown out by 16 points on their home court.
They did.
So I'll take Dallas.
I think I went opposite of you that time.
Yeah, I'll take Dallas. Dallas to go to 4-0. Lakers and Clippers tonight at the Crypto.com arena. Boy, if I'm Crypto.com, man, I want my money back.
Why?
Because everybody still calls it the Staples Center. Nobody calls it the Crypto.com arena. Nobody.
If say, I know that Petco is going to be Petco for a long time, but say Petco changed, it would be really hard to call it anything but
that's
Petco.
my point. That's Crypto's not getting their money's worth.
But I don't.
Yeah.
That's
I don't hear people
I'm
calling
saying.
it Staples Center anymore. It doesn't matter.
All right, Clippers are 3-1. Lakers are 2-2. Clippers did play last night. James Harden's supposed to be in there. Lakers are favored by 3 points.
Wow.
I'm not quite sure why, other than the fact that they're listed as the home team tonight. Skraby's first.
Oh, sorry.
Skraby.
Oh, man.
I'm running a tight ship over here. Remember my captain's hat yesterday.
James Harden, we don't know if he's going to play tonight.
Well, he's probably going to play.
He's a game time decision, according to him.
According to him?
Yeah.
He's a minute-by-minute decision, according to him, on anything.
Yeah, I'm sure at some point during the game he's going to want to get traded. So I'm going to go Lakers.
You're going to take the Lakers.
Wow, I can't believe I just did that.
Give 3 points.
Can't believe I just did
I'm going to take James Harden in his debut. I think the Clippers are a little better than the Lakers at this point, and I can't believe I'm getting points. Tony?
Back-to-backs.
Yeah, that's
Lakers
true.
had a fresh. Lakers at home, baby.
Lakers at home. LeBron James has to play, 45 minutes tonight?
No, he's only have to play like 30.
They've tried to make him stay under 30 minutes a game, and he's done it, once? One more. Go to the ice for the Ducks and the Arizona Coyotes. Ducks are the home team here. Let's see how the mighty Quacks are doing so far.
I don't think they're very mighty.
They're not very good, I don't think.
They're 5-4.
Wow.
Doing a little better than I thought. 5-4.
They've won a couple games
Yes,
here.
they
as of
have.
late.
They're sitting in 4th place in the Pacific Division. Arizona is 4-4, but Arizona's coming off an 8-1 win the other night over the Dead Hawks, otherwise known as the Black Hawks.
Dead Hawks.
This game will be at the Honda Center in Anaheim if any of you care to go up to see a hockey game tonight. So Arizona favored by 1.5 goals on the road.
They just scored 8. Oh, I'm not up first. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm first. Well, I'm going to say the Ducks are a little bit upset about being underdog at home, and they cover. I'll take the Ducks plus 1.5 goals. Tony.
Yeah, I can't root for the Coyotes, so I'm going with the Ducks.
Why can't you root for the Coyotes?
Listen, the Arizona franchises haven't
bad news.
Yeah, they've been bad news.
Bad news. We're going to tell you about this Cardinal situation a little bit. It's not pretty what's going on with that football franchise right now.
I will proudly take the Coyotes.
You'll take the Yotes?
Yeah.
The Yotes. Minus 1.5.
Oh,
proudly
man.
Taking
The actual Coyotes, I don't know if you hear them much here, Chris, but they were going wild last night.
The actual Coyotes?
Yeah, like actual animals.
What does this mean? Where, in your neighborhood or?
Yeah, I don't know if
just all over San Diego. Like, no, wherever I was, I would have heard coyotes.
I see a lot of coyotes everywhere nowadays.
Yeah, I didn't hear a single coyote
Really?
last night. No. And I was outside handling trick-or-treaters all evening long.
Tony, do you hear coyotes a lot?
Yeah, I have like a valley behind my house, and they get to singing back there.
It's kind of creepy.
It is kind of creepy.
It's like I know what's
I've
going
seen
on
them
down
in
there.
packs, like on my balcony late at night, like just kind of like hunting basically.
Oh man, that is creepy. That is creepy.
You know, it's really creepy because I used to live out in the way out, and
I used to live in the
way out in the coyote world, and when they catch something, that's not a good sound for anybody to have to hear.
No, it's not.
No.
All right. With that in mind, let's get to break.
Yeah.
When we come back, let's talk a little NFL. A lot of stories going on. New quarterback not in Oakland, in Las Vegas. You got all kinds of craziness going down in that Arizona Cardinals organization. We'll get to it all after a little bit of traffic.
From the premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Danick.
Several accidents starting us off this afternoon. Crash over the right
21 is the time. It's Chris Ello. It's Tony Gwynn Jr. It's Matt Skraby. Raccoon eyes. Got rid of him finally after hours of scrubbing, did Skraby. You can watch us all on the YouTube stream. Go to 90 or search 97.3 The Fan. Watch the program now.
I was driving home last night with my face paint on, and I came to a light, and I looked at this little kid, and he just started laughing at me.
He was having a good laugh.
I thought I was a scary ghost.
He was having a good chortle at your expense.
Yes, he was a good chortle.
I know you like that word.
I thought I was a scary ghost, but I wasn't.
Yeah,
a chortle.
Yeah. I got a lot of. I don't want to say I got any compliments really on my captain's hat, but I didn't really get a lot of negativity either. So I'll take it.
I mean,
I kind of wrote a, just a straight narrow line on that one.
Man,
I wasn't too wacky and out of control. So, people called me captain. They said, "Thanks, captain," when they took my candy last night. So.
Thanks, captain.
I got a lot of
Did
that.
they really say thanks?
Yes.
Thanks, captain.
I wish I would have gone down there and gotten that in video and just say thanks, captain.
Thanks, captain.
Yeah. Thanks, captain. So yeah, we had some fun Halloween. Hope everybody had a good, safe, and fun Halloween evening. November kicks into gear here with Game 5 of the World Series, and the Texas Rangers looking to close out the Arizona Diamondbacks. That will get underway a little after 5 o'clock later this afternoon. But we're going to talk some NFL here. There's some very troubling stories going on around the league right now, and first a couple of just quick notes. You got the Falcons are going to bench Desmond Ritter.
I saw that.
And, Taylor Heineke is going to get the start against the Vikings. We already know the Vikings are going with a new quarterback because of the injury to Kirk Cousins. So you'll have 2 new quarterbacks in that game. Bills quarterback Josh Allen skipped practice today. Got to rest his right shoulder ahead of Sunday night's game against the Bengals. Giants tight end. What is it? Derek Waller?
Darren
Waller.
Yeah.
He's out for weeks.
Hamstring
Injury, potentially out for a month or so. That's not good news for the Giants, who already don't have any offense. Titans rule Tannehill out for Thursday's game against Pittsburgh. I'm sure they're happy to do that so that they can start Will Levis again, coming off his 4 touchdown game in his debut. And then the Raiders are going with rookie Aiden O'Connell at quarterback, benching Jimmy Garoppolo. So there's a lot of that kind of stuff going on. Of course, in Las Vegas last night, Mark Davis fired Josh McDaniels. Pretty much the only thing he could do if he ever wants to win another game. So Raiders will be looking for a new coach. Antonio Pierce, former Giant linebacker, is the interim, and he's going to face his former team in his first game on Sunday. The Packers general manager today said that he needs a lot more time to evaluate Jordan Love.
What?
He's not sold on whether this guy is his quarterback. He said he tried to say some nice things about it, but in saying nice things, he basically confirmed to everybody that he's not sold 100% yet. He said the next 10 games are going to mean a lot for Jordan Love going forward. And the Packers have been outscored. I didn't realize this, Tony. They've been outscored 73-9 in the first half of their last 4 games.
Is that
and
not
they've
good?
lost them all.
Is that not good?
It's not good. It's not good. Yeah, Jordan Love has not done well, and they are struggling right now.
It is.
So
it is. I don't want to say it's funny, but it's interesting that there was so much back and forth with Aaron Rodgers and them seemingly hoping he would push his way out of Green Bay so that they could try out their toy that they drafted that initially started the whole pissed off Aaron Rodgers things in the first place. They could have got him a wide receiver. Instead, they drafted a quarterback.
Right.
And ho-hum, what do you know? Couple years later, 3 years later, they're not quite sure if he's the guy.
Yeah, they don't know. They don't know. I mean, they got lucky with Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. Let's be honest. I mean, to get 2 back-to-back quarterbacks who both stay there for 15 years and win multiple MVP awards, that's pretty lucky for a franchise. But Packers,
so I guess your luck is bound to run.
Yes, they're not having the same kind of luck yet with Jordan Love. Chicago Bears, we've talked about what a mess they are. They're even a mess on the coaching staff. They fired the running backs coach David Walker today. Matt Eberflus announced that. Apparently, sources say the Bears Human Resources Department,
they made this decision,
reprimanded Walker for poor behavior in the workplace. It's the second time that this has happened, which is what led to his firing, said Eberfluss. As a head coach, we're building well, it's blah, blah, blah. You know what he said.
All I know is that and I shouldn't say I know, but I assume that Matt Eberfluss is the one who hired the
and
staff.
I would like to hear him say, you know what? I did a lousy job.
Yeah, because this is the
say
second
that
one
time.
This is the second one.
Yeah,
the first time they tried
I got to do better in the people I hire.
The first time they tried to trick us, right? It was, I'm going to go away for my family and take care of my health.
Defensive coordinator Alan Williams resigned and said he had to take care of his health and family. We know that was a bunch of BS
we later found out that he was dealing with the same HR folks that this last
what's
coach
happening in the Bears front office here? Come on, people. You're working for a National Football League team. You can't behave yourself.
I mean, they can't get it right. I mean, the guy before, right, wasn't he holding like field goal kicking contests in the offseason?
Their
last head
Matt
coach
Nagy.
Wasn't Nagy the last guy? Or is that two coaches removed?
No, he was the last guy.
Yeah.
He was the last guy.
Yeah, Bears
and then they had John Fox maybe before that.
Bears have been riding a long streak of lousy coaches, that's for sure. But as crazy and as bad as their organization seems to be, the Arizona Cardinals are in a whole lot worse shape than that. There are people coming from every direction right now being critical of the owner, Michael Bidwell, and saying that this guy is absolutely miserable to his employees.
Now, his father was an owner too?
His father owned the team. Yes, Bill Bidwell. And then Michael took over on his father's passing many years ago. But the workplace culture under Bidwell has come under scrutiny for the last 6 or so months. Team's former vice president of player personnel, Terry McDonough, filed an arbitration complaint, accused the team owner of gross misconduct, discrimination, harassment, other allegations. Now, that kind of went away quietly, but now that more people are leaving this organization, more people are jumping on this bandwagon.
You brought this up to me before the show started.
Yeah.
And I had told you, I read about it 2 weeks ago. Well, I read about it 2 weeks ago in The Athletic. Today, it broke on ESPN, which is, I think, where you read it.
I did.
And so the fact that The Athletic wrote about it 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And now, 2 weeks later, the ESPN still decided to go ahead with
enough here for us to release something. Yeah.
There is clearly mounting evidence starting to pile up.
Basically, what I'm reading, and the story is so long. I mean, it would take me till the end of the show to read a lot of it to you. But the story is long. So if you want to, look at some of this dirt yourself about the Arizona Cardinals. But basically, what I'm reading is that a ton of different employees say that this is the kind of guy that walks into a crowded room, picks on an employee, and verbally undresses them in public with bad language, discriminating words, racially charged comments, sexual harassing type things. Apparently, women who work there all feel uncomfortable. They're not allowed to look at the men who work there.
They got to dress a certain way.
They have to dress a certain way. They have to walk down certain steps in the back of the building so that they don't cross paths with the players.
Yeah, I saw this.
It is a nightmare.
Doesn't
apparently.
it have the same kind of tone that was it Sarver for the Phoenix Suns?
It totally does.
Same city too, right?
Before he bounced.
Yeah. Evidently Bill Bidwell, or not Bill Bidwell, he's the father. Michael Bidwell has a really bad potty mouth and just cannot control himself, screaming obscenities at people in public and just berating people. Anyway, this is what I'm getting from the story. There's a lot more to it. If you want to read it, you're more than welcome to get into it and find out. But when you read this kind of stuff, honestly, Tony, this is why the Arizona Cardinals have been so bad for so long.
Yeah.
Bill Bidwell, the father of Michael Bidwell, he was known as a miserly owner who used to make his players pay for their own laundry during training camp. And that used to get around to the rest of the NFL. And nobody wanted to go play there. I mean, players are down there like having to pay $3 to wash their socks.
I gotta go to the corner store to get some quarters.
Excuse me, Coach, do you have any quarters?
That is pretty insane.
Pretty insane in a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Well, listen, I do know that there was a time. I mean, players did. I listened to James Worthy say this the other day. They used to have to kind of wash their own stuff sometimes. But we have moved far away from that time.
We've moved a little past that at this point.
I listened to a podcast about Donald Sterling when he owned the Clippers, and he at one point was like trying to reuse the tape that they used to tape up their ankles. So they
what?
He wanted to
Donald Sterling.
Yeah, he wanted to like strip it off so that
and he didn't understand why the team had to buy the tape for the athletes in the first place. Thought so. The athletes should bring in their own tape to tape their own ankles.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's. I mean, bad ownership can make for a bad franchise, and it certainly seems if you read this story about Michael Bidwell, you can understand why the Cardinals have been as bad as they have for as long as they have. For his side, and I do want to try to do my best to at least, because they did reach out to Michael Bidwell for this article, and Michael Bidwell, yeah, he did.
Okay.
And he said that things are a lot better now than they used to be. And that
so he didn't deny it.
He didn't necessarily deny any of it. He said that things are getting a lot better. We have made great strides. And I don't have this is such a long article that I can't find the quote. But, he said, look, we have made strides to do better, and we will continue to do better. So he's not necessarily saying any of it's not true. So
hopefully he continues to get better.
Yeah, the NFL, but you know what? The NFL's got to do a better job. I mean, come on. The Washington thing with Daniel Snyder.
Yeah.
You got this thing. You got the Bears issue going on. You've got who knows what Jerry Jones does. I mean, the idiot in Miami. I mean, there's just, all over the place.
What we do know is when things start to ratchet up in the NFL on the owner side, they huddle up. They don't.
That's right. They close ranks.
They're not.
Remember, we were hoping that Daniel Snyder would turn some of the dirt against the owners so we could hear it all.
We were.
It would have been fun to hear.
He,
all right.
He,
well,
he
some of the
clearly thought better of it.
Yeah, some of the Arizona dirt has come out, so you can read all about it either in The Athletic or on ESPN.com. We'll come back, Gwynn and Chris. We got a fantabulous sports game show headed your way. Will Skraby finally beat Tony? I think based on today's category, there's a good chance he will.
Chris has been trying so hard to give me a win.
Is he trolling you right now?
No. He's been trying so hard to get me a win by making these categories Skraby friendly. It's not happened.
We'll find out what happens.
Why don't you pick him up one time and win one?
I'm trying, Mr. Hungary over there.
Chris Stapleton's All-American Road Show. Saturday, March 2nd at Petco Park.
Tennessee.
With
Chris's Fantabulous game show, sports game show. But first, some sad news in the sports world. Chris, I'll hand it off to you on this one.
Yeah, he was a legend, and whether you loved him or hate him, you certainly knew of him. The great college basketball coach Bobby Knight has passed away at the age of 83. Won 902 games, mostly at Indiana, where he coached 3 national championships. And, of course, had the last undefeated team in college basketball was his Indiana squad in 1976. Bobby Knight, I mean, just the name, just say the name, Tony. It conjures up images. It conjures up a reaction one way or another. You know, I mean, he was a brilliant genius as a basketball coach, but talk about Michael Bidwell doesn't treat people too well, apparently, in the Arizona Cardinals organization. Bobby Knight, famous for many outbursts. Obviously, he didn't.
He had one here.
He
had one here at Viejas when he was at Texas Tech at that point.
He had everything, and I know Ben Higgins likes to share the story of the time he was interviewing Coach Knight for the pregame show, the Aztec pregame show, and Coach Knight answered the first question, and then Ben asked the second question and stuck the mic over. Bobby Knight was gone. He just walked away. Gave him one answer.
That's all I got for you, big dog.
But didn't even say I'm out of here. He just turned and walked away.
He said what's understood doesn't need to be said, apparently.
Bobby
Knight.
Knight.
I listen. I respected Bob Knight's basketball acumen. I mean, he was. I remember his quote about Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
You know, he's the best point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, center in this draft. You could put him in any position.
Yeah.
But he wasn't the best to everybody, especially referees tend to catch his ire quite often, but it's still a loss for college basketball for sure.
Yeah. Bob Knight, 83 years young, passes away today. So, all right. I'll send it back over to you.
All right. Let's get started on Chris's Fantabulous game show after some traffic.
From the premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Air Max, San Diego's highest-rated heating and air conditioning company. Slow ride in the southbound side of the 5. There's a stalled dump truck right before the 163, taking up the fast lane. Then up ahead, right before the 15, a collision involving a couple vehicles there over to the right shoulder. Also collision on the Briars Road on-ramp to northbound 15. Looking for the best in HVAC? Choose Air Max, San Diego's highest-rated heating and air company with free diagnostics on all repairs and estimates. See why over 1,100 happy customers have given Air Max 5-star Yelp reviews. See Air Max today at airmax.com. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Hey, all you beautiful people out there, it's time to play one of our favorite games of the week.
All right!
We like to call it...
Ooh, I'm going to go
Chris's Fantabulous Sports Game Show.
And it starts right now on 97.3 The Fan.
Hi, everybody. I was just spraying a little hair stuff on my hair.
Wait, you were doing what?
Yeah,
You
what?
know, I've never
Hairspray?
Hairspray. Yeah, I'm coming out for my big,
Oh, I got you.
monologue.
Do you
Welcome
still have,
everybody
like-
to the game show. I had to look good.
Do you still have like the makeup bib on so they didn't get it on
I
your
forgot
clothes?
to take the makeup bib off.
Oh,
Yeah,
so it's still
very
on.
good.
Okay.
Yes.
Hey, real
welcome
quick.
to-
Yes,
Sorry.
very good.
Tony, before I forget, would you like to bet a listener, Diesel? He says, "Hey Tony, I bet you a breakfast burrito the Clippers beat the Lakers." You can think about it. We'll get back to that
let me
later.
think about it.
I'll let him know.
It's not that I don't want to take the bet. I just got to figure out how am I getting you this burrito if my team happens to lose.
I
And
thought
how are you
about this
getting me
too.
my burrito?
I thought about this
because I'm
too.
collecting my breakfast burrito because I don't mess around with my breakfast burritos.
All right.
I
Anyway.
We don't have me and Skraby arguing again about when you should have a breakfast burrito.
Oh, we can start that
No,
again because
we're not. We gotta
anytime after 10 a.m. is too late.
What?
Not true.
Too late.
We're not getting started on this again.
You know something? Anytime before or after 10 a.m. is
Thank
too
you.
late to have a frozen French fry.
Thank you. It's
God,
never okay to have a
breakfast
frozen.
burrito is have you ever not checked into Denny's for like a moon over Miami at 2 a.m?
Oh, at 2 a.m? Yeah,
Everybody's done that.
That's
what-
fine.
So what's
right?
wrong with a breakfast
So what's
burrito
the
at
matter
2
with
in
a
the morning?
breakfast burrito and late
Between
at night?
10 a.m. and about I don't know,
This is not true.
10 p.m.
You know what?
Or no, 10 a.m. and midnight because
Chat.
midnight turns over to the morning.
YouTube chat, do what you do with Skraby, please.
Do what you
Do what you do. This guy's
Skraby,
talking nonsense.
I was kind of rooting for you in the Fantabulous Sports Game Show until a moment ago. Now I hope you get your butt wiped again.
Oh, whoa. That means something else. That means something else.
All right, let's play ball.
I hope I don't win if that's what happens. I hope I don't win if that's what happens.
That's what's going to happen.
Okay, I don't want to win then.
No, you won't. Top 15 answers are on the board. Top 15 answers are on the board. Category today, the top 5 total yardage leaders among quarterbacks, running backs, and wide receivers currently in the National Football League.
Wow.
So you're looking for the top
total
5,
yards.
Total yards, yards passing for the 5 quarterbacks, yards rushing for the running backs, and yards receiving for the 5 wide receivers.
So those are 3 separate categories.
There's 5 of each, total of 15.
Gotcha.
Right. So you got the top 5 quarterbacks in passing yardage. You got the top 5 running backs in rushing yardage. And you have the top 5 receivers in receiving yardage.
Boom.
As of this moment, halfway through the 2023 NFL season. So any of those 15 answers will be correct. If you get one wrong or repeat one, which has never happened before, you get a strike. 3 strikes and you're out. Skraby, would you like to go first in this category, or would you like to pass to Tony?
I'll go first.
All right, name one.
Christian McCaffrey.
Christian McCaffrey is the leading rusher in the National Football League. A self-serving answer if there ever was one. 652 yards, which isn't really very many.
No, it's not, actually.
But that leads the entire NFL in rushing. He is first, and that is a correct answer. All right. To Tony, quarterback, running back, or wide receiver?
Let's go quarter. Let's go with Tua.
Tua on top of quarterbacks. He leads in passing yardage, 2,416. So he's, halfway through the season? He's going to have to pick it up a little bit to get to 5,000 yards, but close indeed. And we're tied at 1-1. There are 13 correct answers to go. Skraby, you're up.
Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill. Yeah, he said he was going to get 2,000 yards. He's on pace to do it. He's got 1,014 yards halfway through the season.
Tony gave me a 1-figure salute off camera, which means he's really actually mad.
Good. I like a good rivalry in my Fantabulous Sports Game show.
I'm feeling good about this one.
I'm not feeling good. I can't even. I'm having a hard time even coming up with names right now.
You guys have all named the top in each category. So that's where we stand right now. It's 2-1 in favor of Skraby. Tony Gwynn Jr., find yourself a great quarterback, running back, or wide receiver so far this season.
Jeff/Jared Goff.
Jared Goff. Wow. He is, I would be surprised if he's in the top 5, but he is. He's 4th with 2,174 yards passing.
Here we go again.
So
here we go again.
I'm
having a hard time coming up with names.
Jared Goff. God, that was a good one, Tony.
Yeah, it was. It was. I
All right,
wouldn't have guessed that in a million years.
No incorrect answers yet. There are 11 correct answers to go. Skraby, who do you have?
How about Justin Herbert?
Justin Herbert. Nope, not here. Not in the top 5 in passing yardage right now in the National Football League. Wait, what?
That's true?
Did I stutter?
I think it's true, buddy.
Yeah, it's true.
They had a bye.
I'm sorry.
Justin Herbert, let me see. He ranks 12th, actually. He's quite a ways down the list.
I forgot about the bye.
No.
He's played one less game.
I don't think the bye was making much of a difference if he's 12.
It has actually made a difference because he's played 7 games. The guys all ahead of him have played 8. So that did make
So
a
he
difference.
would be first.
Maybe.
He might be 6th, though.
Let me see. Let me just see where he is in yards per game. He's 6th. So he wouldn't be there even if it was in yards per game. But either way, you get the first strike of the day.
I do.
You do.
Hang with him, Scrape.
Did I hear the buzzer?
I didn't hear it.
I didn't hear the buzzer.
I don't play the buzzer.
I need a buzzer.
We need
Make
a
it
buzzer,
official.
buddy. There it is.
You best believe I'm going to be giving you the buzzer now.
All right, Tony, we're tied at 2, and it's your turn. There are 11 correct answers to go. Not easy.
Gosh.
Top 5 receivers, top 5 quarterbacks, top 5 running backs so far this season.
I keep hearing his name a lot. How about is it Travis Etienne?
Travis
Etienne. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
I believe he's from Hungary.
No, he is not.
He's not?
I don't think so.
But he is the third leading running back in the National Football League.
That's a great one. That's a
with
great one.
583 yards.
That was real good.
So Tony takes the lead 3-2. This is what happens every single time in this game. Skraby, I feel like you're going to win, and then you kind of choke, and Tony clutches up. And he wins. But right now, it's still a game. 3-2, Tony. Only one strike on the board. Skraby, you're up.
Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts. Gotta be. He's seventh. 2,140 yards passing. He is not one of the top 5 passers in the National Football.
Legitimately done with this game. I am not playing anymore.
Well, Skraby just gave me.
He just gave you one.
Hint. Yes.
Just gave you the guy
How
you
about
needed.
the guy he throws to? A.J. Brown.
Yeah, he's way up there. He's second in yardage with 939.
I'm not playing anymore.
Thank you, Skraby.
No, I'm done with this game. I honestly feel like there's some connection between you two.
Connection?
You're quitting?
Yeah, I'm done. I hate this game.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the
this game.
first time ever we've had Skraby quit
Usually I'm a good sport.
mid-game.
But Jalen Hurts.
It's not.
What do you want me to do? The
guessed
list is right here.
You guessed
What do you want me to say? I mean, I'd love to put him in there. He's 8th.
Legitimately.
Or he's 7th. He's not in the top 5. Are you seriously quitting?
No, I'm not going to quit.
If you're going to quit, play the music and we'll start
No,
celebrating.
I'll start my
dance.
cha-cha slide right now.
You have a chance to pull out one of the great comebacks in the history of the game.
Probably not going to happen. Let's be honest.
Probably
not. But,
you've only got 2 correct answers in a category that was made for you. I mean,
it just throws me off that Justin Herbert is not.
Dude, he hasn't
thrown
for enough
yards per game. He wasn't there in yards per game either. He was 6th in yards per game.
All right, how about this guy?
God, if he gets it wrong, the game's over.
This might be the game.
Oh my God, this is. I don't know. I don't have the heart to tell him.
Puka Nacua.
Puka Nacua.
He was great to begin the year. Hundreds of yards every single week.
Puka Nacua.
He's on the list.
795 yards. He is 3rd in the National Football League. That is correct.
Thank God for my guy Skraby.
I'm so happy you got that right.
Me too. I don't know if I could have played anymore if you got that wrong.
If you were watching the stream, you saw me legitimately angry because I still am a little bit.
Fumes are coming out of the raccoon eyes. All right, Tony 4, Skraby 3. Skraby has 2 strikes against him, and it is Tony's turn.
I can't believe we haven't used this guy's name yet.
Who would that be?
Pat Mahomes' son. Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, you would think for sure he'd be in the top 5.
He's had a bad year.
2,258 yards. He ranks 3rd. That is a correct answer.
The guy throws for 100 yards over the weekend, and he's obviously on the list.
What did he just throw against the wall over there?
My notebook.
His notebook.
Because this is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous.
What is ridiculous? That he guessed Patrick Mahomes? He's one of the best players in all of football.
It's not my fault you didn't use him.
The whole thing about Patrick Mahomes this year is that he hasn't been good.
That's obviously not true. His team might not look like it normally does.
I gotta go get my notebook.
You gotta go retrieve it.
I'll tell you one thing. This game has gotten a lot more fun to be part of out there if you're watching on YouTube, because you are getting to see Skraby lose his mind right now, which is something we have tried to describe to you before. All right, Skraby, you have 2 strikes. 1 more and you're out.
Where the pen went.
We have he needs his pen.
All right, I'm gonna go.
Go ahead.
Hopefully this just ends the game. But Jamar Chase. Do you recall him being out for 3 games at the beginning of the season? No, but he didn't do anything.
Wait, did you just say no? But
so are you going with him or not?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with
him. He's 7th, so the game's over. Look out!
Great man.
Can I tell you? And the thing is everybody's watching, so they know darn well there's no conversation between Tony and I. We're just
Sorry,
sitting here
man.
doing this.
Yeah, but there's something called email and text message and
Yes.
meeting log
You're
in the
more
bathroom.
you're more than welcome
Tony,
to
when's
come
the
on
last
over
time I
here.
sent you a personal email
Let
just
me-
for
I'll-
me to
you know what? Well, email. I thought you asked
Or a
text.
text, either.
I'll add a
Either
personal
way.
text. I'll go to that one.
Yeah, it's been at least 6 months, I would say. I send a lot of group texts to both of you, but
I'm
Yeah.
just feeling
Skraby,
some type of way
you
right now.
should be mad at yourself, bro,
I'm very mad
because you are the one making these guesses,
those
not me.
were
He's not making up.
good
They were good
guesses.
guesses. They were not good guesses. They were not. But you know what? It fits in line with your like of sports. I mean, you just
no.
you didn't see the fact that Jamar Chase has not got off to a good start along with his Bengals. Now they're playing well, but they got a lot of catching up to do.
Oh, I shouldn't have read the chat. Everybody told me to take my ball and go home.
all right, Tony wins at 5-3. I'll give you the correct answers when we come back from the break. Gwynn and Chris continues on 97.3 The Fan.
The Navy midshipmen head to the city of brotherly love to face the Temple Owls in an AAC showdown. Our coverage begins Saturday morning at 10:05 a.m. Navy football plays here on San Diego's number
Oh, that would be me. 4 o'clock. Welcome back to the show. Chris Ello, Tony Gwynn Jr., Matt Skraby, Gwynn and Chris. 97.3 The Fan. Hopefully you were able to watch that last segment on our YouTube streaming feed to see the anger with which Matt Skraby went down to defeat in the latest installment of Chris's Fantabulous Sports Game Show. Tony Gwynn Jr. takes it by a score of 5-3 as Skraby gets only 3 correct guesses and 3 incorrect guesses today in a category that I thought was made for him, the top 5 quarterbacks, running backs, and wide receivers yardage-wise in the National Football League. I mean, Skraby, you are a self-proclaimed fantasy genius. You won the baseball. You're winning the football. I thought you would know everybody's stats, especially in a sport that is near and dear to your heart, the National Football League.
Accurate.
But you did not come up with Kirk Cousins, who is the number 2
That's
quarterback.
I did not think of that.
You also did not come up with some guy named Josh Allen, who is the number 5 quarterback.
See, a lot of good
guesses out there, Scrape. That's 2. How about the running back category?
In the running back category, I think it's much more difficult. The 3 that you did not name are the second leading rusher in football.
DeAndre Swift is on there.
Zach Moss.
Well, they got that one.
Believe it or not, who's sharing time with Jonathan Taylor now, but he's still the second running back. DeAndre Swift is there. He is 4th, and he's on your fantasy team, Scrape.
Oh, wow.
So there is no excuse for missing that.
I had him on the list.
And the number 5 guy is Derrick Henry, who's always among the rushing leaders.
He's been quiet.
You guys also missed the number 4 and 5 wide
I was going to use Derrick Henry, but what about receiver-wise?
Stephon Diggs is number 4. Which I think I'm surprised you didn't come up with. And this one, this guy's on Tony's team, but I did not expect that he was a top 5 performer.
It's not Devontae Adams.
DJ Moore is number 5.
It's because he had that one game of like 220
yards.
Yeah. So those are the ones that you guys missed, but Tony didn't miss any guesses. And for the umpteenth time in a row, he is the champ of the Fantabulous Sports Game Show.
Let me read what's I'm taking back-to-back losses on the stream comments over here because I trashed breakfast burritos after 10 a.m.
I told YouTube chat to do what it do.
You did, and they did. They're telling me I'm an idiot.
Wait, what did you tell them?
Well, they know what that means.
They know what that means.
Go ahead and
tell me I'm wrong, basically. Tell me I'm wrong.
Everybody eats a breakfast burrito at all hours of the day.
It's one of the best parts about the breakfast burrito is that you
can
have
a bowl of cereal
anytime.
at 9 p.m.
Man,
there's something special about it.
No, I do that.
Oh, you do that though. That's okay.
That's okay.
Dry cereal is okay, huh?
That's okay.
It's not dry. Brutus fan 619 said, I always have Skraby's back, but I draw the line at wiping the rear end. I do too, Brutus fan. I do too, Brutus fan. I do too.
Fair enough.
You're gonna get what did Chris say? You're gonna get your butt wiped.
You're gonna get your butt wiped.
Oh man, Anthony, this isn't cool. He said I thought Skraby was a fantasy god with the little emoji.
Yeah. See, you said you're a fantasy god. You proved to everybody in that last
You're just
game
a
show
mere
that you are
mortal
not.
in the fantasy element.
You are not.
Andrew on the
god.
stream said it is different to actually see the reactions live. I love it.
Yeah,
Skraby going full Kung Fu Panda. I'm gonna have to go back and watch me just throw my notebook
Kung
into
Fu
the wall.
Panda. Just imagine if you had your makeup on like yesterday. You looked like the raccoon panda we talked about. Then you throw
that
on
would have been actually kind of funny.
It would have been hilarious.
Yeah, would have been. All right.
You were funny. All right, it's time for
I'm actually mad, guys.
I know you are. And with that, you're going to have to calm yourself and get into today's version of Chris versus the Fans, in which somebody out there can qualify for a trip to Las Vegas. Are we giving away tickets as well, Scrape? Today or
let me triple check that, but I'll tell you on the other side.
While you're doing that, I'll read this in the meantime. 2-night stay, Westgate, Las Vegas, and tickets to Frankie Valli. Catch the legendary Frankie Valli, the Four Seasons live in concert at the International Theater, Westgate, Las Vegas Resort and Casino. Show is a must for any fan of classic rock and roll. Get tickets and VIP packages now. Ticketmaster.com. The Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino features newly designed premier rooms, part of their $70 million room renovations, bringing back the legendary Vegas fun.
If you had one shot, one opportunity to take down the human almanac himself,
howdy do.
Now is your time.
Listen to me, this guy is dangerous.
Now is your opportunity to win a prize.
Well, I hope you know what you're in for.
Chris versus the Fans starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right. If you take down Chris here today or you win somehow, actually, you can't win on a tiebreaker for these tickets, but if you answer the questions and you win, you will also win a pair of tickets to Chris Stapleton at Petco Park on March 2nd. Tickets go on sale this Friday at 10 a.m. on Ticketmaster.com.
Very good.
Ticketmaster.com.
All right. Let's
I haven't read the rules. You have to make it through 3 questions. Each question will get more difficult. If you get the question right, you move on. If you get it wrong and Chris gets it right, you are eliminated. But if Chris gets it wrong, you move on to the next question or you win. If you are a first-time
player.
Very good.
I was on time that time.
I know. Was there.
I know. I'm looking
He's
for
all over it.
Mr. Falsetto over there. If you're a first-time player, then let us know before the first question. You will start on question number 2 for free. And I need to give Tony some callers. As you can tell, I'm really frazzled after losing. So
I don't know why. This is the norm, man. You don't win very often.
This one hurt. This one cut deeper than the rest.
Yeah, you left a lot of meat on the bones there.
A lot.
And it's your fault.
People are like, this dude says he's a sports guy. What an idiot he is. You didn't even guess Josh Allen. And you know what? You're legitimately okay for yelling that because I did.
You know what, ladies and gentlemen, I've been trying to tell you guys for how long we've been doing this show now? This is our 5th year, 4th year? Fifth year.
Going on 6.
Going on 6. Skraby really likes sports. And there's nothing wrong with that.
See, I don't
really
know why
likes
you
it.
have to say
He
that.
doesn't love it. So he's going to miss things like that from time to time. And it's
Yeah.
okay. That's why we love him.
It shows up in the Fantabulous Sports Game Show.
Unfortunately, that game is for love of sport, not necessarily really like.
Wow.
While I'm
Harsh
researching
comments,
world
Skrabe.
news, Tony's looking at stats.
Well, evidently you're not
right.
researching world news when it comes to European countries because he beat you in that category.
Because
also.
That's true.
Do you know how many people have told me that Russia is not a European country?
Hey,
Like many.
according to the internet, it is.
According
So
to
that's
the source that I was using, and I read you the source, and I also I can show it to you on here. I do not make any of this stuff.
you want to bring it back up
No,
again?
I don't.
I'll go get it. I'll get it right out there for you.
Let's get to our first contestant. Rudy, welcome to the show. Happy Hump Day.
Hi, Rudy.
Hi guys, how you doing?
We're
Doing
crazy
well.
Been
today.
better.
Scraby's not very good, though.
Been better.
Here we go.
Yeah.
First question.
I'd like to hear another crazy LO impersonation.
Wait, what's that?
I wanna
he
hear
wants
a
you to do
Skraby
an
Dwelly impersonation.
Oh, Scraby, why didn't you ever get those
It
things
changed
right?
today.
Josh Allen, come
He-
on, man.
He went full on smoker voice right there.
Usually it's hello.
My name is Chris Ella, and I'm just going to sit here and ask questions. I tell Tony
so different every time.
This guy can't
It's
settle
no-
on one voice at all.
I mean, at least if you're gonna make fun of me, make it the same.
Consistent.
That is how I hear you.
Consistent. All right, here we go, Rudy. First question.
Thanks, Rudy, for giving me an excuse to do that.
Thanks, Rudy.
Huh. What color does Manchester United traditionally wear at home?
I believe that's red.
I believe you are correct,
Nice
Rudy.
job, Rudy.
We are
They
on.
lost today to Newcastle 3-0
They got
or 3-0.
they got blown out in the world of soccer.
If you're a Man U fan,
Yeah.
tough day.
That's like
Hang with them
56
day.
Question number 2. Name
Number 4.
Whoa,
Whoa,
whoa, that was
whoa,
not
what?
the one I wanted. That
All
was
right,
me.
button.
Scrape, calm down, man.
I'm all
Calm
out of
down. You are just
He's
losing
frazzled
it.
right now. Definitely frazzled.
Name the 2 former Padres players that are on the brink of winning a World Series with the Rangers.
Oh man. The Rangers, huh? No, I don't know. I gave up on them as soon as they missed the playoffs.
No, he gave up on the Padres, so he's not paying attention.
I was
Yeah.
like, the Rangers.
Stay there.
Well, we know it's Jankowski and unbelievably Austin Hedges. You know he's going to be in the swimming
Sorry.
pool tonight if they
Did he
win.
get a ring last year? Where was he?
With who?
No,
won
No,
last
he was
year?
with Cleveland last
Cleveland
year. He
last
was in the
year.
postseason, though.
All right, here we go. New contestant. Mark, come on down.
Hey, Mark.
Happy Wednesday.
Dun, dun.
Mark.
How's it going, guys?
Going
Pretty
well,
good,
Mark.
pretty
Here we
good.
go. First question. Which team switched from National League to the American League in 2013?
I think it was the Astros.
I
think you are correct.
Very
That's
good.
how old I am. I played against the Astros when they were the National League.
Yeah.
National League Central
That
opponent.
is kind of crazy.
Yeah. Well, last year's or 2 years ago, the World Series was an all former
Former-
NL West
That's
matchup.
right.
The Astros and the Braves used to actually be in the NL West also.
No
crazy.
kidding.
That's
All right.
crazy. That is
Question number 2. Joe Buck last called a Super Bowl for Fox in what year?
crazy. Wow. That's pretty tough, if you ask me.
Let's go with 2013.
Oh, 2013.
10 years ago.
Stay there.
I think it was sooner than that, but I don't really know which year it was. And again, I struggle with this because Super Bowls are always played the following year from the season in which they are. So I don't know if you're asking about the actual date of the game.
It's the actual date of the
Okay,
game.
the date of the game. 2021. My guess. Did not know. What is it?
2020.
Yeah, he
2020.
It was the last good little bit of great
It was.
sports we got.
Yeah. It was
Before we were locked down.
Okay.
except
yeah.
for the 49ers lose.
That's a good way to remember
We
it.
do
The
like
Super
it.
Bowl.
Yeah.
All right, it's good news for you though, Mark.
Oh, was that the year? That was the
Yeah.
year Patrick got you that year, huh?
Yeah, Jimmy G was actually a hero because COVID was already spreading around, and when they lost, San Francisco didn't have a parade, and so
He saved many
That's
Bay
right.
Area
That's the
residents
excuse you
from
were
that.
going with in
That's
that's
what
my
he went.
excuse for him overthrowing Emmanuel
That's
Sanders by
right.
10 yards and a winning touchdown.
Well, I don't know if it's an excuse now because we just watched him do it last week.
It's just
with
what he
Devontae
does.
Adams.
It's just
Same
what he
thing.
does.
All
Get
right.
back to Mark. He's still
Mark,
alive. He
question
goes to
number
the
3.
final.
Tress. Chance to win it all. What college football team won the first ever BCS championship game? I remember this.
Let's go with Alabama.
Alabama. Roll Tide.
Uh-oh.
Oh, the Crackers got
He
him.
said,
No,
"Oh, no!"
sip of soda. Wait, that was wrong. I got it right though, because it's
What did you say? You
T. Martin to Peerless Price, Tennessee.
Taking down
Oh.
Florida State.
Yeah,
Wow, you guys have a really good memory.
I do remember that game.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Mark.
I
I,
do, 'cause
did
I-
not
Sorry about that,
expect
Mark.
that
I was
to happen.
rooting for Florida State because I had Peter
You were?
Warwick on their team that year.
Okay.
Didn't
I was
work
rooting
out.
for Tennessee because my boss was Bob Bollinger.
Oh,
He's
that's
the biggest
right.
Tennessee fan of all
Oh,
time.
that's
So he was a very happy
right.
guy that night.
Former boss of all of ours.
Very
All right,
happy. guy.
let's move to our next contestant. Jose, welcome to the show.
Hello.
Jose,
Hi, Jose.
welcome to the show.
Hey, how's it going?
Going
Pretty
well.
good,
Here we
pretty
go.
good.
First
Very good.
question. What is the only playing surface FIFA will play a World Cup game on?
No grass.
Nice
Natural
job.
grass it
Nice
is.
job.
Here we go, Jose. Question number 2. What team did Matt Olson play for before he was traded to the Braves?
The Athletics.
Hey,
Wow.
Jose, we got a player. We got a player.
Question number 3.
Hey, boy, Jose.
All the way back in the olden 2000 year, BCS National Championship featured Michael Vick and Virginia Tech losing to what school?
Ohio.
The Ohio State Buckeyes.
Stay there.
I like Jose. He's a good contestant, but I cannot get one wrong on purpose. I remember the
How
game.
does this guy know this?
I remember this game too.
Yeah, they
Why?
lost to Florida State. I think
Chris
it was Chris
Weinke.
Weinke
Yeah.
was the quarterback.
Chris Weinke,
Sorry about
27
that,
years
Jose.
old,
Sorry about that, Jose.
slinging that football all around the field.
27 years old.
Yeah.
He was definitely older than everybody on the field. All right. We'll move to our next contestant. I think we got to go to a tiebreaker, huh?
We one more contestant.
One more contestant.
Skraby says one more.
Gilberto. Welcome back, my
here
friend.
he is.
Gilberto, ¿cómo estás? Muy bien. Y tú?
Yo muy bien, Chris.
He took away his line.
Wow. I gave you my best shot, Gilberto.
Here we go, Gilberto.
Hey, you're doing great. Hey, and before last time I called, I forgot to congratulate Tony for a wonderful job calling the Padres games.
Wow.
Even though it was a tough season, Tony, but you did a magnificent job along with
Jesse
Scanlon
Yeah.
and Jesse.
Yeah.
Yeah,
very
you guys
good.
did a great job. Okay?
Gilberto, I will definitely pass along the kind words. Thank you very much. Now, let's get to this game. What European country will be hosting an NFL game this very weekend?
I believe it's Germany.
Nice
Gilberto,
job.
lover of sports.
No,
Question
Gilberto,
number 2.
There's no doubt he's a lover of sports.
Our Tuesday NFL guest, Marcus McNeil, former NFL tackle for the Chargers, played at what college?
Oh my God, I don't know that one, but I'm gonna guess. Mississippi State.
Mississippi State. I like the guess.
Close.
I like the guess.
Stay there though. Chris might forget.
No, I didn't forget. When is he going to have Barkley on? I got to remember to ask him about Barkley. He went to Auburn. Sorry, Gilberto.
Thank
As I said,
you.
I can't get one wrong on purpose.
Yeah, no, that was a good guess though, because he
was
obviously
pretty close.
listening to Marcus's southern twang. He has.
Yeah, he was close. He was
Yeah.
close.
Good guess. All right, so we'll have to go to a tiebreaker now.
Tiebreaker.
Wyatt, welcome to the show. Do you know how the tiebreaker works?
Wyatt is no longer.
Wyatt's not longer in the show.
He's no longer with us.
Okay, so
Doesn't matter if Wyatt knows how the tiebreaker works. He's not on.
Let's go to Oscar.
Oscar, do you know how the tiebreaker works?
Yes, I do.
What
All right,
player
Tucker.
are we doing?
Oh, we got to get a play.
How about Michael Vick?
Okay. I can do
Michael Vick?
that. Yeah.
All right, that
All right,
leaves open a lot of room for some crazy questions.
That is true. How many years did he go to prison? No, I'm
Yeah.
just kidding.
Like,
Just
really?
kidding.
That's what we're
nice.
doing?
That's really nice.
I'm just kidding.
But coming from a hater, I would expect nothing differently.
All right, Chris, I'm going to ask you a question that it has an answer as a number, and you're going to guess whether the actual. Never mind.
Yeah.
Let's just keep going. Chris, how many touchdowns did he throw in his career?
Thoreau.
Yeah.
How many did he throw? How many years did he end up playing? 10?
11, 12, 13.
13 years for Michael Vick. 10 a year, 130.
130. All right. Oscar, is the actual answer higher or lower?
Ooh, throwing, right?
Yes, throwing.
Yes.
All right, let's go over.
Over.
He's going higher.
Higher.
Tony says higher.
Is correct.
He got it. All right, Oscar.
Stay there, Oscar.
Good for you, man.
Hang on the line, Oscar. Mr. Skraby will
info.
get your info here in a sec. Another good game.
Well, do you want to know the actual number?
No.
Yeah.
Chris almost got it. It was 133 career touchdowns.
Wow.
So it wasn't that high over.
No.
It wasn't that much
Now,
over.
rushing, that is an interesting.
How many did he have rushing?
I got to look and see how many he had rushing. But do you know where he finished his career at? Like
Pittsburgh.
his last. How? I don't remember this
He was
whatsoever.
a Steeler?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was?
Yep.
He scored 36 rushing touchdowns in 2010. He had 9 rushing touchdowns as a quarterback.
Yeah,
That's
he was,
I remember
he was
Chip
pretty
Kelly
magical
tried
there
to
for a while.
He tried to sabotage that Eagles team because they had a good squad, and all of a sudden, Shady McCoy was gone, Deshaun Jackson was gone, and it didn't work out.
Chip
And
Kelly is a saboteur.
In
many ways.
In the stream, everybody likes to answer the questions just to see if they get it right. But Brandon Wilson brings up a really good point. He said, in fairness, Chris couldn't remember yesterday that Rivers went to North Carolina State. So
that's true.
Yeah.
Let's
forget once in a while.
I'm about to say, a squirrel sometimes can't find the nut. So, that's how it often goes. Let's get to break.
Poor squirrel.
When we come back, we got more Gwynn and
Can
Chris.
it be an acorn rather than a nut?
An acorn.
Thank you.
Fine. More Gwynn and Chris on the way. Here's some traffic.
From the premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto Family.
big doings going on here.
Big doings.
Big doings.
Yeah. We talked a little bit about it earlier, but Taylor Heineke. Starting quarterback. Is it Heineke?
Heineke.
Sorry.
I believe it's Heineke.
Not
sure. Not 100% sure.
Throw this at you. Taylor Heineke, starting quarterback against the Vikings.
I want to help him here because he's so down today.
I'm actually
That was
happier.
such a perfect opportunity for you to say something to him like, a really good sports fan would know it's Heineke.
He missed his opportunity,
but
though.
you missed a wide open shot.
And
I need you
layup.
Layup.
I'm too emotional. I go for the kill every time.
He gave you a layup right there, and you missed out.
Roll?
You missed out.
George Gervin. Yeah, finger roll, man.
Oh, George Gervin, the Iceman.
Finger rolls are always really tough.
George Gervin was the man on the finger roll. Get into the lane and just flip it up
so
there.
Wait.
From about 6 feet out.
Yeah.
It was softly amazing. Nestle into the net.
He was like a true finger roll.
The Iceman could score.
Tony just said I was a liker of sports because I couldn't finger roll very well. I don't know how many people can finger roll as well as George Gervin.
George Gervin can.
Probably not a lot, but it just fits the moment.
Do you find that hard, Chris, to finger roll?
Well, I got a little baby hand, so yes, finger roll is definitely hard.
Basketball's pretty
big.
Now, these guys make it look... the funny thing is we're talking about finger roll like everybody knows exactly what that is. Chick Hearn was the one who kind of invented
word by Chick Hearn.
Because Wilt Chamberlain used to flick it up there off his fingers at the rim. But a lot of people, since George Gervin, and he hasn't played for 25 years... Who's shot a finger roll since then?
I can't not out of that cloth of George Gervin.
Yeah,
George Gervin would be about 10 feet from the hoop.
I know, and flick it up off his fingers. I don't know how he did it, and he would go right in.
It was amazing.
George Gervin was man.
All right, short segment.
Sweet. Yeah, all right, that's it. That's all we got.
Actually, I would like to read something before we go to break.
I'm sure.
Yes, I would like to read something before we go to break. Did you guys hear me? I would like to read something before you go to break.
I heard you. Go
ahead. We're waiting for you.
All right. The biggest fan contest is returning November 13th. Visit 973thefansd.com/biggest-fan. Register your name and then listen at 9:15 a.m., 11:30 a.m., and 5 p.m. during each fan talk show. If you hear your name called, call us back within 10 minutes and you'll qualify for a grand prize 20 tickets to a 2024 Padres game in the Odyssey Suite to watch a Padres game with your friends and all of the fans hosts. So again, biggest fan contest, 973thefansd.com/biggest fan. I'm a stickler for the biggest fan contest.
It's easy. All you have to do is sign up, and then all you have to do is listen after that. So there's not a lot required.
At those times.
Not a lot required, and a hell of a nice present there at the end if you win.
Yeah.
So good luck to everybody out there on that.
All right. I got a big 5 on the other side, guys.
Good for you.
Good for you. We're going to talk about what in the world the Raiders are doing because Jimmy G is making a lot of money. So we got to figure out what they need to do going forward in the Big 5. Plus, I want to get your guys' thoughts on this $50 million loan that the Padres apparently took out. So we'll talk about that a little bit more in just a second on 97.3 The Fan.
The biggest fan contest is returning on November 13th. Visit 973thefansd.com/biggest-fan. Register your name
Diamondbacks in Game 5 with the Rangers up 3-1. We had the sad news, the passing of the basketball coaching legend Bobby Knight today at the age of 83. And we also had a lot of NFL news, including the Raiders firing their head coach, Josh McDaniels. That was late last night. But on into today as the new head coach, Antonio Pierce, who takes over, has decided that he's benching veteran Jimmy Garoppolo. And Aiden O'Connell, the rookie from Purdue, will take over for the very expensive Jimmy Garoppolo, which I believe is something we're going to talk about in today's Big Five, which is coming up. Your luck right now after traffic.
From the premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Danick.
Still looking at single-digit speed southbound side of the 5 from Old Town down to the 163, stalled dump truck being cleared out of that left lane. Also, southbound 5 right before Quinodero Plaza, got a collision blocking middle lanes. Southbound side of the 805 near the 15, getting reports of a 405 vehicle accident, not showing if lanes are blocked. Westbound side of the 8, just before the 805, accident blocking the slow lane. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
It's that time of the show when we check on the latest in sports. Only the most important topics and questions are brought to light.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
These news stories will astound and amaze you. The one, the only.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
The Big Five starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right. We talked about it before the break.
Number 5.
But we'll get into it now. A little bit ago, and maybe a couple hours ago, I got a push notification from The Athletic with this article. But apparently the San Diego Padres reportedly need a little help, I guess, making ends meet this season. The team took out a $50 million loan in September to address short-term cash flow issues and meet its obligations, including the franchise record player high payroll. And it's also reported that the Padres asked MLB for permission to borrow nearly $100 million. But the league only gave them permission to seek the $50 million. This includes, this is a confusing story, but the league only gave them permission for the $50 million, which the league apparently felt would be enough to cover their expenses. Some teams do this, and what seems to have made the Padres borrowing newsworthy, however, are the Padres' well-publicized spending and how they went about the move so late in the season. Now that I've done butchering that, Chris, you're up first. What does this tell you about the state of the team?
What team?
The Padres.
That
what
they had
team
to
did he just ask me? What team?
Did he just say what team?
What team?
You know, from what I can tell, I mean, this isn't a fairly common occurrence, right?
That's what's been written, yes.
So, you know, it says they spent a lot of money last year, but I already knew that.
Yeah.
You know, and it tells me that the money doesn't grow on trees. You know, eventually you run out. And maybe they had to borrow some money to get through the rest of that season last year. It was quite the commitment that Peter Seidler and company made to that franchise. I don't think it tells me anything other than that, and probably confirms the fact that they'll be reducing that payroll a little bit this year, because I think it'll be very difficult for them to try to do the exact same thing.
Tony?
That's what it tells me.
All right, thank you. What does this tell you about the state of the Padres?
Doesn't tell me anything, honestly. I think we knew, based on reports, that they were going to try to cut payroll. Teams taking loans out isn't like a new thing. Teams do that all the time. And so I don't know that it just feels like there's a lot of like searching right now, because it's still kind of unbelievable that the Padres have spent as much money as they have. And so, you know, with that, I guess comes the search to see when it all collapses, or when it's, you know, it just feels like there's like this, I don't want to say willingness, but like this search. I think that's the best word. There's this search to find like the, you know, you get a piece of string on your shirt and you pull at it, and all of a sudden
it just keeps going.
It keeps going.
Yeah.
It's what it kind of feels like this is, but I don't see it to be a big deal right now until it actually happens, if it actually happens.
I mean, yeah. All right. I didn't know that teams borrowed money, but I guess they do. So
they take loans out.
Yeah.
And the thing is, teams have to go through certain requirements if you're going to take the loan out in the team's name. Certainly, owners are allowed to take loans out however they choose under their own names. There's some different rules, I think, as it pertains to taking out a team's name. I was unclear in reading the article if this was a loan taken out from an individual or taken out under the team's name.
So it's not like one person said, I need to take a loan out to buy a yacht. They can't just do that.
No,
right?
No, not under the team name. They could take a loan out to buy a yacht under their own name.
Okay. I don't know why I thought of that.
Number 4.
The Las Vegas Raiders are making changes. Team owner Mark Davis relieved head coach Josh McDaniels, general manager Dave Ziegler, and offensive coordinator Mick Lombardi of their duties yesterday. Antonio Pierce is now the interim head coach, and with a new head coach comes other changes. Chris mentioned this a little bit ago. According to NFL media, the Raiders will start rookie Aiden O'Connell at the quarterback over Jimmy Garoppolo week 9 versus the Giants, and some are saying this is how it's going to be going forward. Jimmy G just signed this offseason a 3-year, $75 million deal with $45 million of that guaranteed. The Raiders paid him a lot. So, Tony, what is Mark Davis doing?
Here's the thing, and I brought this up earlier. Mark Davis is in this situation right now because the head coach that he wanted to sent some stupid emails that all came to light. Thanks to Daniel Snyder. Once again, Daniel Snyder's involved in all of this.
He is.
And so I don't necessarily think this is on Mark Davis, right? He turned the franchise over to the GM. I can't remember what you said his name was. Josh McDaniels.
Dave Ziegler.
Dave Ziegler.
Mark's long-lost brother.
Fine.
Somewhere Mark Ziegler's driving along going, how did I get thrown into this?
And I think, because of, him having to fire Gruden, I think this is why you end up having to get a bad contract. Like,
well, because Josh McDaniels gave up on Derek Carr.
He didn't like Derek Carr.
Yeah.
And so it all kind of is connecting.
Yeah.
If he didn't have to fire Gruden, he probably still has Carr because Gruden seemed to be I didn't say infatuated, but he liked Carr.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't necessarily blame Mark Davis. I'm putting this at the feet of Chris Ello's favorite head coach, Josh McDaniels.
Chris?
Yeah.
What is Mark Davis doing?
He's trying to save his franchise from complete, utter ruin. What else do you want me to say? I mean, he got rid of the one of the worst coaches in pro football history.
Does he get another job as a head coach?
Oof.
He can't.
He's going to go back to New England, right?
At some point, he's listen. So, who's the offensive coordinator there that used to be with
Bill
O'Brien?
Bill O'Brien.
Oh, yeah.
Enjoy this one more year, buddy.
You
Because
think McDaniel's going to go
I
back
wouldn't be
with Belichick?
surprised to see him right back as an offensive.
Man.
Some coaches are best as coordinators.
Yeah, but
He seems
McDaniels
like
isn't
that.
even that great of a coordinator. He had Tom Brady. We're already seeing how Belichick's doing without Tom Brady.
That's true.
Anyway.
Oh, you know what? Anthony on the chat brought up, remember when he accepted being the Colts head coach job for like 30 minutes and then quit?
I'm okay.
This
Colts
guy's
dodged
a
right
bad
there.
a major
dude, man.
bullet.
He's a bad dude. And not only that, you talk about benching Garoppolo, 35.2 quarterback rating ranks 30th in the National Football League. That's not going to get it done.
It's not, but I have a hard time believing that Jimmy G is
And
that
remember,
bad.
he was you have to think that he was a part of drafting Jimmy G when he was in New England, right? And so this is he probably was a part of the whole get Tom up out of here too. I'm ready to get Garoppolo a shot.
Not anymore.
No.
Aiden O'Connell's the guy going forward. But like 2 weeks ago, Josh McDaniels didn't want to start Aiden. It's just a lot of stuff going on there.
Number 3.
There is a ton of anticipation this year for the baseball free agent class. Shohei Ohtani leads the way as the best free agent on the market. But MLB.com's Mark Feinsand ranked Japanese ace Yoshinobu Yamamoto second only to Shohei Ohtani among this year's free agents. The Athletics' Jim Bowden, he did the same and offered up a pretty crazy contract prediction, 7 years and $211 million for Japanese ace Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Chris, do you think Nippon Professional Baseball translates to Major League Baseball enough to offer this type of money?
I wouldn't do it. I'd let somebody else give it a shot. Pitchers are just too unpredictable in my mind. So I wouldn't spend that kind of money on a pitcher. But, Ohtani has made a lot of people besides him a lot of money in the future, because a lot of guys are going to come over with that kind of reputation. So they're going to get paid handsomely, but I wouldn't risk it.
Tony, would you offer this type of money, or do you think Nippon Professional Baseball translates to Major League Baseball enough?
I don't know if it translates, but there's certainly been some good players come up out of that league. So I think it's had enough good players where you can, what your eyes are telling you when you send your scouts over there, you can feel pretty good about it. However, giving up this kind of money is a lot. I probably wouldn't. I'm with Chris. I probably wouldn't give up that kind of money.
All right, let's move on.
Number 2.
Every now and again, a question just kind of falls flat.
Yeah,
that might have been one.
You guys aren't giving me a line going on here. According to the New York Post, the Mets have interviewed former Padres manager Andy Green for their open manager position in New York. Currently, he's the Cubs bench coach, and he managed the Padres, as we all know, from 2016 to 2019. Finished with a record of 274 and 366. So, Tony, do you think Andy Green will be a manager again?
Yeah, I do. He got one bite at the apple, and if we're being fair, he didn't have a whole lot to work with when he was here in San Diego. All the good stuff came thereafter. And I still thought and still think Andy is a really intelligent baseball manager coach. I think he'll get another shot. I don't know when that'll be, though.
All right, Chris, do you think Andy Green will manage again?
It doesn't seem like the Mets is the right thing.
Yeah, that might be true.
That sounds like too big of a bite of the apple. Hardy har.
No pun intended.
But no, I think Andy Green should get another shot. He showed, look, the guy wasn't an idiot, No,
definitely not.
He knows his baseball. He can manage in the big leagues. And a lot of guys who get that second opportunity make it work. So, yeah, I wouldn't rule him out completely.
All right, well.
Number 1.
With your guys' short answers, we're coming up on having a lot of time left here at the Big Five. But Rob Manfred.
Have like 5 minutes.
I know. I'm being more dramatic than actually. Rob Manfred said before Game 1 of the World Series about bullpen games. Sorry, quote: "I do think that."
Wait a minute. He said what? I thought what he said was, Corey, we're going to give you the Chevrolet.
Congratulations. I want to present you.
You're going to have to play that again for the folks that did get
I got to go find it real quick.
I understand what we're talking about.
Yes, I'll do that in a second. But he talked about it before Game 1 that he wasn't a fan of bullpen games. He said, quote, "I do think that historically starting pitchers have been some of the biggest stars in the game. And I think that the way that pitching is being used right now has caused a diminution." Wow, Rob Manfred fooling me on the word right there.
Yeah, he's fooling himself.
Has caused a diminution in that kind of star quality for some of our starters. And I think it's an issue that we should talk about. So basically he's saying he doesn't like bullpen games. Chris, do you think bullpen games are necessary, especially in the World Series?
Are they necessary? Man, I really don't like them either, but I don't know how to get away from them. This is just kind of an aside, but my dad and I once were driving along, and this is in the 70s, and we're talking about baseball. And my dad looked at me and said, "You know what a team ought to do someday?" And I said, "What, Dad?" He said they ought to get the best 7 or 8 relief pitchers they can get and have them all pitch one inning every game.
Your dad was way ahead of his time.
And I said, kind of crazy idea is that? Because back in the 70s, of course, guys were pitching 30 complete games a year.
Yeah.
But he thought, if you pitched Raleigh Fingers 1 inning and Mike Marshall another inning and whoever else, some of the other top relievers of the day, you'd be almost impossible to beat. So I think about that often when I see a bullpen game now, because that's kind of the strategy that's being used. I don't like them, but it does seem like they're kind of necessary in the way the game is played in this day and age.
Tony, are bullpen games necessary, especially in the World Series?
No, I think it's an excuse for baseball ops and GMs across baseball to put the rosters together the way they have. You can go out and get yourself enough starters.
Good call, Tony.
We've watched Boach manage it, and his bullpen, as we heard from Matt Snyder, is not very good right now. And so he's had to do the opposite. He's had to go with starters, and he's had to get as much out of them as he can, and then he goes to bullpen. Now, you can have 5 starters, and maybe let's say your other 2 starters at the back end, they don't get you 5. Okay, in the playoffs, fine. That's okay. But and listen, I think most teams do it out of necessity, not because they like it or they think that's the way to go. But I think it's a bad look. And look, I think Arizona's paying for it right now. They've had to go bullpen day, and it's finally caught up to them last night. And no, I don't think it's necessary. I think teams in the Diamondbacks' defense, I don't think they were expecting to go to a World Series.
I was just about to ask you.
So it's different for them. They are just trying to get through the year with the young talent.
Yeah.
Just so happens they got hot. They called some young guys up. They did really well.
Yeah, won some games.
We talked about it. Fott at the beginning of the year was one of the dudes they thought this guy is going to help. It took to the playoffs, but he's helped. They'll be better for it next year, but I don't think it's necessary. I think teams do it out of necessity. I don't like the idea of seeing it. It's not that I don't like the idea. I don't think it's necessary to have in the playoffs. You get to this point.
Yeah. All right. You guys want to hear Rob Manfred give Corey Seager his award?
Sure. Give the folks a little bit what you were talking about.
Here's what we were talking about.
You thrilled our fans throughout the postseason with a great performance. You led the Dodgers to a World Series victory, and it's my pleasure to recognize your great play.
that echo is kicking his behind right there.
It's so funny. Every time I watch this video, Corey Seager's like, "What is happening? is the commissioner drunk right now?" I remember watching that and being like, "What?" Like watching it live.
It was funny because again, that was when we were all stuck in the house, right?
Yes.
And so
kidding,
they were like he was like, oh, was he just sitting in a room by himself throwing back a 12-pack and then forgot he had to go and do this part?
He's like, oh no, I gotta go give the award.
Oh,
give the award. Why didn't he just have Tom Rinaldi do it at that point, or Tom Verducci? Sorry,
whoever would have had to do it would have had to deal with that echo though. So they may not have
for those who that echo is no joke. Like it'll have you feeling like you're drunk.
I can understand it. I've never done it or heard it, but can you fight through it a little bit better than he did?
Because you have an earpiece in your ear, and one of your ears is open, and so the one ear that's open is hearing you talk 5 seconds after you said what you said.
Would the move have been to cover your ear?
That's why you see a lot of people cover their ear or have 2 of those headset things, and so you can't hear anything out.
Rob Manfred,
he doesn't know how many times he's been brought up on this show alone for this moment.
Yeah, poor guy.
All right, that's it for the Big Five, guys.
All right, recap everything that's going on in a busy sports day, including the passing of a legend when Gwynn and Chris continues.
was our fearless producer.
Gwynn and Chris starts right now on 97.3 The Fan.
I'm not going to lie to you. I kind of want In-N-Out Burger after hearing the 4x4 thing there.
I always love how excited Chris gets. He goes 4x4. He's like almost like he's daydreaming about it.
I've had one in my lifetime.
Was it good?
It was unbelievable.
I found that when
I was full for about a month.
Yeah, no, you're full for a while. I find that when you cut it in half, I don't know, it digests better.
Interesting.
Okay.
You're not full like you're a snake for like the next 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? 5:01 on the clock. Tony Gwynn Jr., Chris Hello, Magic. Just recapping what happened today in the college basketball world. Bob Knight passed away. Former Indiana Hoosier head coach, former Texas Tech head coach, passed away at the age of 83 today. What else we have going on today?
He was also, the thing about Bob Knight too is he roamed the earth when a different style of coach roamed the earth.
Yes.
And I think that for a lot of us now in this day and age, it's hard to imagine somebody ruling with an iron fist the way Bobby Knight was able to do it. And he was always reviled for his behavior. I mean, he threw chairs, he screamed.
One of the greatest chair tosses of all time.
He screamed at referees, he screamed at media people.
Screamed at kids.
You think it's tough to ask a question nowadays in the media. Try and ask a question to Bobby Knight after he lost a basketball game. You better duck. If your question wasn't right on point,
for real,
he would air you out if your question was off target. Even if it wasn't off target, he might think it was. But it was a different. We as a society helped create the monster that was Bobby Knight.
Let's talk about this. By
giving him basically the free reign to control the world of college basketball in the way he did. John Wooden, Bobby Knight, Dean Smith, they didn't all behave like Bobby Knight. And
those two didn't behave anything.
And Bobby Knight deserves to be reviled for that. But he was just still legendary in his footprint that he cast on Bear Bryant in college football, John McKay at USC, Woody Hayes, Bo Schembechler.
Yeah.
It's just a different animal.
Here's how I look at it, right? I think every 10, 15 years, society changes or it starts to go in a different direction. Bob Knight was one of the few that kind of made his way through some of the changes, and then it started to catch up to him. I would say the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, all of a sudden it wasn't cool.
It wasn't
to
cool
Bob
to do that
Knight.
no more, right?
Yeah.
There were plenty of high school coaches that were emulating Bob Knight's style. But then, as society starts to make a change in how we want to treat one another, how we want our kids to be treated, he became an outlier. And then that became a little bit more difficult for schools to have him.
When the video surfaced of Bobby Knight striking a player, and I believe the player's name was Neil Reed at practice, and they showed the video. I mean, he just waxed the guy over the head.
That was at Indiana. This was his last.
That was one of his last acts at Indiana. But when that first happened, you think of it now and you go, "Oh my God, how did this guy not get fired years ago?" But back then, coaches probably pushed players and grabbed them from time to time. This wasn't really a shocking thing.
For sure.
I'm not going to say any coach I ever had did that.
Operating in that field, and when it changes, it's much harder for a coach to change the stripes that he has developed over time.
Yeah.
And adjust. And he was one that didn't adjust well.
No.
And so,
he stayed pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Then he really looked like a fish out of water the last 20 years of his life.
Right. And listen, it wasn't the only way, because as Chris mentioned, Dean Smith, we often talk about John Wood, and these were the gentlemen of college basketball. They didn't operate like that. And so, I've seen. Skraby mentions he saw some comments. Why is he being elevated the way? I don't know that he's being elevated. First, he passed away. That's a sad thing, no matter how you look at it. Despite his his hiccups and his bad deeds, he still was a heck of a basketball coach, won a whole bunch of games, and that's why he's being recognized. And listen, I'm sure I haven't watched SportsCenter. I'm sure when they highlight it, all of those things that we just talked about will be in their little montage of
you'll get it all.
You'll get it all. But
and I would, and again, this is a dumb ESPN Plus article, so you have to pay extra for it. But if you happen to subscribe to it, Jay Billis, who we've had on this show and on many of our shows, Jay Billis wrote a really good article about why he liked Bob Knight. But he points out all the warts in the article.
Right.
But he knew him pretty well as an analyst and all these things. He said he liked the Bobby Knight that he knew, but he totally understands why a lot of people didn't like him.
Most people that you talk to like the Bobby Knight that knew him, like the Bobby Knight that they knew. But he did have some warts, no doubt about it. Let's go to the phone lines. Interesting couple calls, subject lines in these calls. We'll start with the first one, Matt. Matt, welcome to the show, man. It sounds like you want to talk a little bit about my irritation with bullpen games, not only in the playoffs, but in general.
Yeah, guys, how's it going? Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah,
I definitely agree with you guys. I've been to a bullpen game. I'm a Mariners fan, so like we were doing the opener for a while, and I've been to a game, and it sucks as a fan because you just get to see whoever's thrown out. They're very boring.
Right.
They're very annoying. They are kind of necessary, and I get that. But that's where you guys remember during the season it came out that they were testing a few new rules.
Yeah.
In the independent leagues, and that's where you got, the designated pickoff, whatever. But I think the rule that is coming in a couple years, and I know some people roll their eyes, more rule changes. the double hook DH rule is coming. And for people who don't know what I'm talking about, under that rule, if you pull your starter before 5 innings, you also pull your DH. Double hook. So
the double hook DH.
It's going to have to come into play because I don't think baseball likes these bullpen days a whole lot better than we like them.
Matt brings up a great point. Doing these games, bullpen games suck. They do. They're boring.
No kidding, Tony. You got to do a lot of research.
It's like a spring train. Like you show up to spring training, and you're like,
you know it's going to be that way.
I'm not even going to use my regular scorebook because I'm just going to use like the regular sheet they hand out at the game because this thing is going to be a mess when it's all said and done. And I know that's a selfish way of looking at it, but from a spectating standpoint, it's a boring game to watch. What this double hook does, though, if you want that DH and you don't want to go back to National League way of playing baseball,
right? You better
have 5 starters in your rotation
that can go 5.
That can go 5.
Yeah. Otherwise, you lose your DH, and then you wind up with a different pinch hitter the rest of the game in that spot. And it's not going to change the way your pitching is, but you're not going to get your hitter you want.
But you're also, when you're in spring training and you're making these decisions, and you're making these cuts, you're going to find the dudes that can give you innings.
Yeah.
You're not going to necessarily be looking.
That rule will force teams to do it.
I don't know when it's coming. I know they started it this year in the minor leagues, but certainly it's one of those rules that could be a game changer in the same way that we saw the time of game go down almost 35 minutes.
Yeah.
This could be along those same lines in terms of getting back to those marquee pitching matchups.
Some of them are so fun.
Yeah.
I mean, when you get Scherzer against Verlander, you looked forward to the game, and you also knew both guys would be in the game for 7 or 8 innings.
Yeah.
It's really not the way it is anymore.
No doubt. Let's go to our next call. Glenn, he wants to talk a little bit about Bobby Knight. It sounds like, Glenn, you had an opportunity to meet Coach Knight.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for taking the call. Yeah, I did have I was in high school, and he was a guest speaker. And he actually got out on the floor and was working with some of the players. I was about 14 or 15. And I tell you what, I wasn't any good, but if he had ever asked me to come to Indiana, I'd have moved that day. I just was so impressed.
Yeah.
I mean, he was so popular in Indiana. There were, he could have run for emperor and he'd have won.
Yeah.
Because he was so popular. Parents wanted to send their kids to play for Bobby Knight. Now, over the course of time, that I think that that sense of invincibility, he could do whatever he wanted, kind of caught up with him. I think I remember I don't know, in the late 70s or early 80s, Indiana had just gotten worked. They had just gotten run out of the gym. And in the post-game news conference, he made a comment, something along the lines of, well, when rape is inevitable, sometimes you got to lay back and enjoy it. And that was
which might have worked in that day and age, but not now.
You couldn't say that now. But again, that was his thing. There was very little friction between his heart and his mouth.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Anyway, I'll take your responsibility. I'll take your responsibility offline. Thanks.
I'll say this about what you said, Glenn. As a young person growing up, if Bobby Knight would have called my house and said, we would like you to play basketball at Indiana, I would have gone also.
Yeah.
But I came up in a totally different world. In my world, the coach said jump, and I said how high.
I grew up in that same world. However, if Bobby Knight had called my dad and said, Mr. Gwynn, can I get you? If I was ever good enough to go to Indiana,
right?
My dad would have probably been like, I'm not quite sure, Mr. Knight. You're going to have to come down and convince me otherwise.
Okay. Well, that's fair enough. But I think I would have thought it would be pretty interesting to play for Bob Knight. I think I would have learned a lot about life and doing things the right way.
Yeah.
But treating people, I would have had to learn from somebody else.
I think, Glenn brings up a good point in terms of learning from those type of coaches, right? There's going to be some warts, but you're going to get a lot of good stuff out of it. And you're going to improve as a player. And, I think most of the guys who played for him would tell you they walked away, ready for the real world when they got done. And
90% of the people that play for Bob Knight are Bob Knight fans.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
But there was a bunch that weren't. So anyway, it's interesting to hear somebody like Skraby, who's in a younger demographic, say, what's the big deal about Bobby Knight? Right? No, I think it's interesting to hear you say that.
No, I know.
Not being said out of, because he wasn't coaching, he wasn't there when you were growing up. You weren't really around for that era of the world.
I wasn't. My grandpa did go to Indiana, so I did hear about Bobby Knight, but I definitely latched on to the bad stories more than the good stories. Like
those are more salacious.
Like, is this true? I am just saying this off the top of my head, and you guys tell me if it's true or not. But did he get accused of locking someone in a room in a closet for?
No, that was my man who passed away.
Our man Mike Leach.
Mike Leach did that.
Oh, okay.
That wasn't Bobby.
See,
Knight.
this is how my brain works.
I be cut from the same.
This is how my brain works, though. But I mean, I know Bobby Knight was a great coach and all that stuff, but you just can't hit kids.
No,
and I know.
Yeah, I mean, at that time, I think that was a bridge too far for everybody when he choked out the kids.
That was his last act at Indiana.
Yeah.
But you cannot tell me that in the 60s and 70s, basketball coaches weren't grabbing hold of kids by their shirt tails and saying, "Get over here and do this right."
I played in the late
'90s,
and I had my shirt crumpled up by a coach.
I think coaching has become. Maybe this is just me making it up, but I think coaching has become a lot different ever since we were in high school, Tony. Because when I was playing football in high school, we were denied water. That's how old I am. Is that they denied us water when we were playing terrible?
Yeah. And every coach did that.
Yeah, no, I would say.
But there's some people out there, some old timers, maybe another generation older than me, that would say that coaching has become soft now. As compared to the way it was.
I think there's an element of that too.
And, we become, quote, softer as a society as a result of having to look out for everybody's feelings based on every act that we commit. I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm saying that Bobby Knight never worried about your feelings.
He didn't, which he doesn't have to, because he was, again, like you said, getting people ready for the rest of their lives. It wouldn't have been my scene.
Cup of tea, yeah. You would have folded like a lawn chair if you.
I would have been like, "What are you yelling at me for? This is just basketball."
You would have crumpled like a $2 suitcase.
It's just like, all right, dude, it's just basketball. It's not the end of the world. Like, calm down.
I don't think you would have said that to him.
And he would have been like,
I think he would have been
You'd be
terrified
like,
to say that.
do I have a liker of sports on my team and not a lover of sports? And then throw a chair in my face.
He would have identified you very quickly.
Yeah, let's
there,
be
buddy.
honest, Skraby. He would not have recruited you.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I don't think so either. He's like, this guy's too soft.
Let's get to break. Got more Gwynn and Chris on the way. Here's some traffic.
From the premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the premier auto family, here's Kelly Danick.
Guys at South on 5 slowly getting back to normal. They get that stalled dump
Everybody's favorite former Padre, Tommy Pham, is in the batter's box right now with a couple of runners on in the bottom of the first inning. 2 on, 2 out. No score. Texas and Arizona game 5 of the World Series. Tommy Pham has had an excellent postseason. Really an excellent season all the way around, Tony. And I don't know. I'll be honest with you, it makes me feel a little better about how many times I've told people Tommy Pham was a good player when he was here. Because nobody believed me when he was here. And I don't blame you because he didn't play very well here. But Tommy Pham has been real good. Skraby said, what does that tell you?
You know,
that Tommy Pham's only been bad with the Padres. And I said, it didn't tell me anything except for the Padres have had some bad luck.
Baseball doesn't exist just in San Diego. So I would advise if you only thought Tommy Pham was bad because the year he had here, that you just weren't paying attention.
No.
I wasn't talking about you. I'm talking about generally speaking, because Chris was saying that people thought, that he was bad because of the season he had here.
Player.
Tommy has been outside of that season and maybe the first half of the next season in Cincinnati. He has been this guy for most of his career.
Yeah, and he's been really, really good. He did ground out, though, this time, so no scoring for Arizona in the bottom of the first.
Not good. Don't let Texas score.
Yeah. Bochy played the infield in the bottom of the first inning
and
with a runner on third and 1 out and got the ground out.
It was a good point brought up to you, too, because as you said earlier, they are undefeated when they score
Bochy
first.
He wants to score first.
He knows his team's psyche is tied to that as well.
Bochy's just a genius. My goodness. I mean, Abner Doubleday may have invented baseball, but Bruce Bochy's reinvented it. He's taken it to another level. And he's got 1 win to go for his 4th World Series championship. Incredible.
Every time you say Abner Doubleday, I swear to you, I think Moby Dick.
Moby Dick.
It just sounds
why
like
do you think of that?
Captain
Why
Ahab,
do you think about
Abner, Ahab.
Really, there's a connection between Ahab and Abner in your twisted mind.
Yes, because when you say who invented basketball, James Naismith comes to everyone's mind. But when you say who invented baseball, I don't know that many people know that.
I think, people who love sports know.
Okay.
You walked right into that.
No, I did not.
See, I don't miss wide open opportunities like that. I do not miss wide open opportunities.
Gotta hit your layups, buddy. Gotta hit your layups.
San Diego State basketball getting set to start its season Monday night against Cal State Fullerton. To that end, Dave Velasquez, who's been great to us from their coaching staff, will be on our program tomorrow to talk about the Aztecs, who people thought they looked pretty good the other night in the preseason opener against, I think it was Cal State San Marcos. But Jaden DeLadee looks like he's primed for a monster season this year.
Jaden came, he had his coming out party in that postseason run last year.
Yeah.
When he was coming up big on the boards. And remember, we had kind of been waiting for him all last season to get to that point. He showed up when it mattered most. So I am one of those folks who's expecting a big year from him.
Yeah, you got Jaden LeDee back. I mean, you obviously got Trammell back, who was the hero, certainly, of the Alabama turning that game around. And also the Creighton game. Remember, he hit the game-winning free throws after getting fouled in the final seconds. But Trammell, who had an admittedly difficult regular season last year.
He also came up big.
Also came up so big in the NCAA tournament. Of course, Lamont Butler goes without saying. He's back. So, I'm expecting great things from Brian Dutcher. I mean, and you know what? As I said before, if I don't get it, I'll be all right. But Kurt Kenny, our friend, had a big story on Brady Hoke today in the paper.
Is that right?
Yeah. Saying that it's time Brady Hoke's facing the music right now because people are they're criticizing him from every corner. And it made me think of what Dabo Swinney said yesterday, the Clemson coach, about expectations versus appreciation. And where does the line get drawn on a guy like Brady Hoke?
Yeah.
I mean, how long does the appreciation last of him really being the guy that turned the Aztec football program around before it got handed over to Rocky Long? Brady Hoke turned it around. And then when he came back, he went 12-2, one of the best seasons in Aztec history, and a top 20, finish. But right now, none of that goodwill seems to be following Brady Hoke anywhere, because it seems like everybody you talk to just says, no, it's over. It's long past him. And I just think it's a little quick to be, throwing him out with the trash. We'll see.
Yeah. I'm not sure where I'm at on it. I think a lot of cases, I do think schools, people react too quickly and don't, give a chance for it to be fixed. Because in this case, it's really the first poor season, and season's not over yet,
right?
That the Aztecs have had in a little bit of time. And so, we'll see how this season ends, but you could certainly see a scenario in which the noise just continues to get louder.
And the reason for the noise isn't, as the people who are making the noise will say, that the reason for the Aztec football noise is not because they're losing. It's because of how they're playing and how they look out there with no offense, nothing going, shut out at home against Nevada type thing. That's what you're hearing. And that's where I think a lot of the criticism is on Brady Hoke. I would love to see him bounce back and win the last 4 games and finish 7-5 and go into the postseason again and be able to, ride off into the sunset. Because I like Brady Hoke, but a lot of fans are really anti the, as Kirk's article said today, the music, he's facing the music right now at San Diego State. So I guess if nothing else, it's good to know that people care enough.
I think that's we are in an age in sports right now because there aren't very many teams out here anymore, right? Chargers are gone.
No, we don't have a lot left.
I think there's more eyeballs on it now. So there's because there's less choice, everybody's locked in on the choices that are in, and I think that's going to bring more scrutiny.
Yeah. Well, Aztecs are back in action this Saturday night against Utah State. I believe they're a 3-point underdog at home, which makes sense after the way they've played. But hopefully they can put together a strong performance after the bye week. And then basketball gets going Monday night against Cal State Fullerton. Very excited about the start of this new season.
Fullerton, what is the nickname?
The Titans.
Oh, that's right.
Yes, they got a very good baseball program.
I was almost
a
Fullerton. I was almost a Titan. I should say.
I was close to going to Fullerton too.
Oh my gosh!
Out of high school until Coach Dietz showed up on the scene.
Yeah,
and then I thought, no, San Diego's a better fit for me. Get me out of living at home and out of Los Angeles.
Get out of Beverly Hills.
Get out of Beverly Hills. Skraby, do you have a comment about Beverly Hills while we're on it?
Oh, everybody, Beverly Hills.
I thought you would have a comment.
So nice. I needed to get out.
There's voice 16B right there of Chris Ella.
Oh my goodness!
Did I tell you guys we had a swim gym?
Swim gym?
Yeah, he told us yesterday, I think, actually, or 2 days ago, where the basketball gym opens up in the middle and there's a swimming pool under it at Beverly Hills High School.
No, I didn't say that. What I said was,
there's a basketball court, and you open it up, and there's a swimming pool underneath.
Did you know there's a swimming pool down there?
That's what I said. All right.
It's the end of the show.
It must be the end of the day. We got our interview of the day with Matt Snyder talking Major League Baseball. Still scoreless with the D-backs and the Rangers. They are going to the bottom of the second in Game 5. Gwynn and Chris the smartest decision of his life last night.
He had to re-up right here. This was a recoup move right here.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I had great hopes for Josh and Dave. It just seemed we were going in the wrong direction. So with the trade deadline, I just felt it was time to make a change, time to make a move. That's pretty much where he left it. It seemed like a fresh approach. Well, Davis said, well, let me backtrack here. We mentioned that Antonio Pierce is now going to be the new head coach. Davis is now going in an entirely different direction, turning to the intense Antonio Pierce as interim coach and more laid-back Champ Kelly as a interim GM. Davis said he was intrigued enough by Pierce's bio, including a 9-year NFL career at a linebacker, 1 Pro Bowl selection, and a Super Bowl title for the New York Giants, to have a sit-down with him. Seemed like a fresh approach, Davis said. Seemed like the adjustment we need at this time. I was impressed. Davis added that he wanted Pierce to lead, not necessarily coach, to delegate to the coordinators and other position coaches, be somebody they could follow. I felt good about it. I felt good about him. What's interesting about that is because, I obviously haven't played for Josh McDaniels, so I don't know. But it certainly seems like he's more of a coach. He's coaching everybody. Not necessarily guys are going to follow him or like lead a bunch of guys. He's an X's and O's guy. That's what made him so terrific as a coordinator. But
no, it isn't.
That
Tom Brady made him so great as a coordinator.
Touche.
Go ahead. Off you go. I'm not going to give Josh McDaniels anything.
You're right.
I'm not going to give him anything on this show. He's getting nothing from me.
You are probably right.
Yeah.
But he doesn't seem like the type that I would turn to Skraby in the locker room and say, man, I want to just run through a wall for that guy right there.
Right.
Doesn't seem like that.
Yeah.
But if I don't know where to go on this play, I think he'd be the guy to ask.
He might know. He might know the X. He might know the O. But, man, just, the worst, you said it we were talking during the break. The worst thing that happened to him was when he started with the Broncos, he won his first 5 or 6 games.
With Tim Tebow.
With Tim Tebow as his quarterback. And he thought Josh McDaniels went from the savior to being knighted practically. They were going to call him Sir Josh McDaniels, but that season fell apart quickly, as did his career in Denver. And I don't mind the Raiders giving him a shot, because I think guys on their second turn a lot of times learn from their first turn.
Yeah.
But I just never thought he was the right call, because I just didn't like his attitude when he was the coach in Denver.
See, I know that his attitude is not good, and I know that players they don't really like him, it seems. But is there any part of you guys that feel bad? Like, I had this feeling last night when I saw that Josh McDaniels got fired. I was like, all right, well, everybody knew that was going to happen, but this dude just lost his life dream of being the NFL head coach.
Yeah, but when he goes to the bank and picks up that $40 million check next Friday, he'll feel a little better.
I mean, every time, I wish that would have worked every time they sit me down. Hey, man, you are ruining my life.
We can't do this to Tony.
You're ruining my life's dream.
We can't do this to Tony here. Come on.
Yeah,
now.
no, I'm sorry, Josh.
Yeah, this is a world you sign up for.
Yeah.
No, you're right. You're right. That is true right there. That is true.
Thank you,
Skraby.
Skraby.
But his players definitely did not help him in the days leading up to it. When Josh Jacobs was asked how did they fix the offense, he said,
"Not my job." I don't blame him, because you know what? This is week 9?
Going into 9.
Going into 9?
Yeah.
He's probably been asked that question at least 5 of the 8 weeks.
Oh yeah.
How do you fix this? And he probably gave real answers the first 4 times.
Right.
This time he was like, you know what? Ask that guy in there.
Because you got to think that game against the Lions on Monday Night Football was one of the most embarrassing moments for them on a football field, just as a professional.
But more
player.
Embarrassing than that was what happened the week before in Chicago.
I was just about to say
I know
that
they had a backup quarterback, but still, it's the Bears.
Yeah,
come on, man.
But they're not on Monday Night Football.
Without their quarterback, by the way.
Yeah, Bears had a Division II quarterback and blew them out.
Can't remember if it's Tyson or Tyler Bagent.
I don't know either.
One of the two.
Don't know, but I know that Josh McDaniels is no more. And by the way, why don't you share what you really thought when you saw McDaniels got fired? You thought, I'm going to send this. Okay, you send what he really wanted to send me.
This is
what he really was thinking. Don't let him kid you over there.
Skraby, we all got a text pretty late last night from Skraby, and it says, McDaniels, he gone. And then I think in Skraby's mind, I think Chris was going to think that it was
because I thought you guys were still up. And so I was like, all right, they're probably seeing the news too. And you guys, I don't know if you guys were still up.
I was trick-or-treating.
But then I woke up this morning. Yeah, this morning. And I was like, oh, I wonder if Chris thinks I was talking about Mike McDaniel getting fired. And I had a little bit of a panic attack that I sent you in a panic, but no, you didn't take it that way.
You did not. I didn't see your text until after I saw the news that he had been fired. So
okay,
I was good on that. And if Mike McDaniel gets fired, the Dolphins, then their owner's even dumber than I think he is, because obviously he seems like a pretty good coach right about now.
Yeah, right about now.
Right about now.
All right. Earlier today, Matt Snyder joined us to have a little convo about World Series, Padres, all things Major League Baseball. You'll get a chance to listen to him. But first, here's some traffic.
From the premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by SDG&E. You got a stalled car southbound at 5, just past La Jolla Village Drive. It's in the center divide. It looks like somebody may have hit it, so watch out for a little confusion there. Also, still seeing some very slow speeds southbound 5 toward this earlier stalled dump truck before the 163. That's been out of lanes for a while, but it looks like the damage has been done on that ride. Also, on the eastbound side of the 8, right before El Cajon Boulevard, somebody dropped a mattress in lanes, and now looks like a bunch of mattress debris all over the place. So take it extra carefully there. In peak wildfire season, there's a last resort. SDG&E may need to shut off power in specific areas for public safety. Learn more about public safety power shutoffs at sdge.com/PSPS. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Matt Snyder from CBS Sports, one of our great baseball guests, joins us on the program. Matt, how are you on what could be the final day of the 2023 baseball season? I know that part of it probably saddens you.
Yes, it does. And I'm also sad that I really root for teams, but I just want it to go 6 or 7. So I hope the Diamondbacks get this one. But yeah, you're right. It's bittersweet, right? Like I'm here, I'm excited for Game 5, but it's like, please don't be the last game. Come on now, we need more than 5 in the World Series. When you go through and you think about like the best World Series, none of them were ever just 5 games. They always go to 6 or 7. So hopefully they can get one here. They showed life late last night. Maybe that's a good sign heading into today. They did hit Nathan Eovaldi pretty hard in Game 1. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing that sticks out about this World Series, last World Series, there was one team that was supposed to be there, one team that wasn't, and it ended up looking like there was one team that was supposed to be there, one team that wasn't.
Right.
Back here in San Diego, Matt, there's been a lot going on. I don't know if you've heard, but Padres are in the on the look for a new manager. Is there any name out there that hasn't been mentioned? We've talked about Benji Gill. We've talked about Eric Chavez. We've talked about the in-house candidates and Ryan Flaherty and Mike Schilt. Is there anybody that you think should be involved that you haven't heard?
I wouldn't mind talking to Will Venable. You know, there's a San Diego tie there, and he's the Rangers bench coach, number 2. So he's learning under Bruce Bochy right now. I mean, Bochy's the playoff master. So I wouldn't mind that. He's an up-and-comer, but I haven't heard his name at all, so I don't know if he's being considered at all. I was just surprised that he wouldn't be. You know, you're basically the number 1 assistant for the team in the World Series. Usually your name gets bandied about.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I thought he should be in the mix. But otherwise, he basically said him. I know everybody's connecting him to the Mets, but with Craig Counsell out there, I think he's one of the best managers in baseball. I think it's worth a call, and it's worth trying to throw more money at him than the Mets do. But we'll see. I know he's interviewing with Cleveland. I don't know why he would take that job when he's interviewing with the Mets. But the Padres could compete with the Mets here. I really think they could. I think if he looked at that talent that the Padres have in the house, he would probably think, you know what, maybe I'd rather live in San Diego than New York. I don't know. I would. I definitely would.
Thanks, Matt. We appreciate that. Matt, from everything you've read, everything you've heard, everything you've surmised from the situation here in San Diego, and AJ Preller gonna be running this show no matter what. Bob Melvin and he obviously didn't see eye to eye. Is that going to be difficult to find the right manager though, who's going to want to come in and basically have to toe the company line a little bit?
And that might be the problem when I just talked about counsel. Maybe it's, hey, the Mets will leave me alone, but the Padres, it seems like Preller won't, because if he ran off the veteran like Melvin, and maybe that would be a deciding factor for counsel there. So, yeah, but I mean, if it's an up-and-comer, like in an Eric Chavez type, where it's going to be his first managerial job, I'd be okay with that. I mean, there's guys like Kevin Cash who are really dialed in with the front office, and it feels like the front office make a lot of those decisions for him. He doesn't seem to mind it. I mean, hey, at the end of the day, there's only 30 managerial jobs in Major League Baseball, and if you get one of those 30, that's a pretty nice perch there. So, it's somebody like counsel. It might be scared off by that, but below that, I think most of those guys would take it anyway.
Matt Snyder, CBS Sports, joins us here on Gwynn and Chris. And Matt, we saw a report last week in regards to Juan Soto, and the Yankees were connected. When you look across Major League Baseball, Yankees obviously they got it was a young kid, Dominguez, I believe it is, that everybody is feels like it's one of those sure thing type deals. When you look across Major League Baseball's landscape, are the Yankees the best team if the Padres were to make a deal with for Juan Soto, or to give up Juan Soto? Are the Yankees the best match?
They're a good match. The Cubs are a good match. They're at the point where they have a good farm system, and they're looking to spend money. They're they only missed to get playoffs by one game this year. They're looking to get in the mix. I'm sure that the Mets will be involved. It's David Stearns gets hired away from the Brewers. Now he actually is allowed to spend a lot of money. He might want to dive right in the pool right there and take on Soto. Although they just restocked their farm system in front of the trade deadline. But I would expect it to only really be mega markets that do have good prospects. So then there'd be a match that they can cough up the prospects, and they know that they have a chance to extend him during the season and don't have to deal with free agency. So, it seems like the Yankees, Cubs, Mets are the ones that first come to mind.
Matt, what about what are you hearing? What do you think's going to happen with Blake Snell and Josh Hader in free agency? It seems unlikely that either or both could stay here in San Diego. And how much are they going to command out there on the market to make it almost impossible for the Padres to keep them?
Yeah, it seems like Snell is probably gone. I could see Hader being a match there, but at the end of the day, if you have to go cheap and want with one part of your ball club and figure it out on the fly, it's the bullpen. And so maybe that will be the deciding factor for the Padres. Like, hey, we're in a bit of a financial crunch here. We can probably try to piece it together here. And maybe Suarez has a huge season or something, and looks like he did toward the end of 2022. Then all of a sudden you've got a cheap closer there. So I could see them both going. Like I said, I feel like Snell's definitely gone. And then it makes sense if you are trying to save money, and maybe that would be the deciding factor on being able to hold on to Soto. If you let those two guys walk and you go cheap around it, then maybe you can justify keeping Soto. But yeah, it's in the terms of the contract, Snell is a 9-figure guy. It's, maybe it's something like 6 years, $140 million or something. I mean, he's been inconsistent. He's been inconsistent enough that you're not going to see him up around the 200 range, but he's absolutely going to get deep into the hundreds. Hader, what are some of the other bigger deals like Aroldis Chapman, Kenley Jansen? They fell like in the 6 years, $90 million range. That's probably reasonable to expect for Hader.
Last thing, Matt, before we let you go, and as always, we appreciate the time, but can you just, ahead of him winning the championship, which he's likely to do, sing the virtues of Bruce Bochy one last time? I mean, when he first got this job, did anyone really around baseball think, all right, he's going to come back, he's going to immediately win a World Series, another one?
Yeah, I think a lot of us thought that he was going to be a difference maker. But, man, there's only so much a manager can do. Right. They had to have a lot of things go right for him this year. But they had a lot of injury adversity, man.
Yeah, they did.
I mean, Corey Seager only played 119 games. Jacob deGrom had Tommy John surgery. They dealt with Adolis Garcia getting hurt late in the season. That's when they promoted Evan Carter. So what they were talking about last night in the clubhouse, Travis Jankowski in particular, because he took over for Adolis Garcia, is he's like, man, this is how it's been all year. We've had a lot of big names go down. Nathan Eovaldi went down for 8 weeks or so in the middle of the season. He's like, we've just had to get used to having the next man up mentality, and you have to step up when it's your turn. And that's what Jankowski did last night. And it just feels like one of those Bruce Bochy Giants teams, right? Where they've dealt with injury adversity. They're not one of the greatest teams in the regular season, but all of a sudden in the postseason, it seems like almost everything just works for them. And he doesn't even have a good bullpen right now. Their bullpen is terrible.
Yeah.
And he just has to keep piecing it together. And it seems like most of the time he makes the right move.
He's phenomenal, and he's on his way. They're going to throw him in the pool tonight if they win in Arizona.
Boach is a big dude.
He's a big guy, but I think they'll get him into the pool tonight. Hey, Matt, thanks as always for your time. We really appreciate it, and enjoy your off season, and hopefully it won't start tonight.
All right. Yep. Have a good one, guys.
Thanks so much. Matt Snyder, CBS Sports, joining us on the Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Yes, they're back, and you can save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet, find new roads.
Nathan Eovaldi with the big punch out, second and third, 1 out after the Diamondbacks bunted the guys over. Eovaldi with the big punch out, 2 outs. He still got to get through Tommy Pham to get through this inning.
Yeah,
0 for 6 now for the Rangers with runners in scoring position.
RISP. You know what happens when you're bad at that? RIP.
You die.
Yeah, that's what we saw it all year long. And the Rangers are now, or the Diamondbacks are now 0 for 7.
Yeah.
As Tommy grounded out. So no score through 3 innings. Arizona's 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position. The Rangers have yet to have a guy in runners in scoring position yet, but still even through 3 innings of World Series Game 5.
Well, we have winded all the way to the end.
Skraby, have you calmed down yet, or are you still furious about your loss earlier?
I am actually pretty mad still, but
if you missed the Fantabulous Sports Game Show, what time was that? 4:30?
3:40.
3:40. Yeah, go download that segment and listen to it
Go
later.
on the
You'll have
YouTube
a
and
good
watch.
laugh.
We had a lot of fun.
Actually watch it on the YouTube, because it's even funnier to see Skraby throwing stuff around the studio.
I really legitimately.
It's real, too. Like, it was legitimate irritation that I got it right, he got it wrong.
He was legit.
Like, there was a point where I almost walked out of the room.
Well,
I took my headphones off.
I thought we had to end the game.
Literally quit.
You did quit. We had to. I thought we were going to end the game.
I did.
We'll be back at it again tomorrow. Unfortunately, you won't get the 4 hours of brilliance that you got today. It'll be a short show.
But you'll get 2.5 hours worth of it.
You'll get 2.5 for it. Who's the Thursday night game tomorrow?
Titans and Steelers.
That is a doozy of a game.
Another doozy.
3-0 final score for that one.
3-0. Is that your prediction there?
With like less than 100 yards combined.
All right. Well, Will Levis looked pretty good in his debut.
That's
we'll
true.
see what he does.
I have a feeling Will is setting us up.
Yeah.
He had such a great performance his first game.
Not expecting the same tomorrow night.
Steelers, that just could get ugly.
Steelers, Mike Tomlin, a little tougher.
We'll do it again tomorrow. You guys have a good night.